What's up, everybody? Welcome to PS I Love You XOXO, episode 14. I am one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
It's good to be here with you today.
It's good to be here with you as well, Colin. How the fuck are you, son of a bitch?
I'm feeling pretty good.
You're feeling ready? You ready? You got some excitement? You got some energy?
No, I don't got any excitement.
No energy?
I don't got any excitement, but I'm feeling pretty good.
You're feeling pretty good?
Yeah.
Good enough. I'll deal with that.
No excitement.
Why no excitement?
I don't know. It's just,
What if I told you the best game on PlayStation Vita has arrived?
What is it?
Taco Master.
All right.
Have you seen me playing Taco Master all
Greg,
day?
It's not the best game. What's wrong with you?
I'll tell you right now.
It looks like a fine game.
You know sunflowers? This kicks the shit out of sunflowers.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does. You know Race the Sun? This beats the living fuck out of Race the Sun.
Does it?
Taco
beats
Master,
Race the Sun.
sir. Beats Race the Sun.
Okay.
Yeah. You're making tacos. It's got a platinum trophy. You touch
It's a little ridiculous that it has a platinum. Now, how is the platinum trophy?
Totally attainable.
Let me see it.
Look at it right now. Look right now. You have been with me. We spent a lot of time together.
Mm-hmm.
We've been together. How long have I been playing this game?
Today.
Exactly. And so look back on and see what my percentage of trophies is.
18.
Update that bitch. Oh my god, I'm cleaning up out there, buddy.
Well, we don't have a good Wi-Fi connection in here, so it's gonna take a minute.
It's probably still trying to draw out there. You can jump in there and see the platinum trophy all at the same. You don't have to see how updated I am.
Lord of the Taco Master. Clear level 10 in classic. Career Classic. Clear level 20 in Career Classic. Clear Career Classic. You haven't done that one yet.
I'm 3 away.
Clear level 5 in Career Classic, which is below 10 and 20 for some reason.
If we can speed the show up, I can get through.
Clear level 17 in Career Classic.
Did it.
Career level 20. Clear level 27 in Career Classic.
Did it.
Deliver 1 order.
Done it.
In any mode. Deliver 50 orders in any mode.
I think I've done
Deliver 100 orders in any mode. Deliver 250 orders, 500 orders, and 1,000 orders. You haven't gone that far yet.
Yeah, 1,000 orders is gonna take.
Get a
some time,
5 combo multiplayer. Get a 10 combo multiplayer. You've done that. You didn't do a 30 combo.
No. They threw me for a thing.
There are hidden trophies. Are they afraid of spoiling the story of Taco Master?
They don't want the Taco Master's.
How did they get away with giving a platinum trophy to this game with Gone Home?
Gone Home said they didn't want to put one in there because they felt like it would be wrong because they're a small game.
Finish Career Tropical Fury.
Taco Master, though, man.
Get a golden medal in all Tropical Fury levels. You gonna be able to do that?
I can't imagine I can't because I'm pretty good at Taco Master.
You've not even delivered 50 fish tacos.
I haven't even started that one. That's a different. Like you have to understand, there's different modes in here, Colin. I'm in Classic Career right now. There's more to come.
I think you don't have any more than 80%, and I think it's updated.
Okay, good.
So I think you're just straight lying.
I'm just letting you know. I mean, I'm about to clear the Classic Career. See, Classic Career is right there. Then it's Mexican Party is the next career. Then Taco Zombie. Then Tropical Fury.
You got a long way to go because it doesn't seem like there are many trophies attached to those.
Dude, are you aware that I'm telling you though?
Unless the hidden trophies are attached.
I just put in the most amount of time into Taco Master, and I'm about to beat the Classic Career of 30 stages. You know what I mean? Let's here. We'll jump into Mexican Party. And see how many.
There's a secret code for a Taco Master. You want to know what it is?
Yeah. There's 30 there. No, there's 20 in Mexican Party. You turned it off. That's not a code at all. It's a lame code. It's not a good code. Taco Master, so far in the running for my Vita Game of the Year.
All right. Cool your jets.
I'm loving Taco Master.
Why are you so excited about this iPhone game?
I'm enjoying it. It's dumb. It's dumb and fun. It's $3. I assume it was an iPhone game before, was it?
It certainly was.
You sure?
Almost positive.
And then did you notice the tropical tacos had the little crab guy on it? So I'm guessing that's that crab game we used to play too. Remember that crab game where we turned the Vita sideways?
I don't want to talk about the crab game you and I used to play.
You know what I'm talking about here.
The one where you gave me crab?
Huh? No, that's a different kind of crab game. I'm talking about Joe's
That
Crab
wasn't a
Shack.
game. I got to tell you, that wasn't a game.
We all lost in that game. That's how it works out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is PS I Love You XOXO, KindaFunny.com's PlayStation podcast, the #1 PlayStation podcast on the internet. Remember, each and every Tuesday, we come to you at 9 a.m. on YouTube.com/KindaFunnyGames, so subscribe, or podcast services of your choice, so rate and share. With this here fun show where we run through all the news, answer your questions, have fun about PlayStation, talk about it there. I
love having fun about PlayStation. It's one of my favorite things to do.
It's part of the fast-paced action genre. I said every Tuesday. We come to you with PS I Love You XOXO. Of course, we're 14 episodes in.
Sure.
We've been good so far. We're about to take 2 weeks off.
Right.
We're gonna kind of funny
shutting
shutting down.
Not from the show, though.
Shutting down. I'm getting to that. Shutting down.
Greg, we're not taking off from the show.
What I'm getting to is, yes, there will be more PS I Love You XOXO.
You've ruined many things for me, so I wanted to intentionally...
Give me a handshake.
You ruined a lot of things.
I've ruined
Roper's Report.
I've ruined things outside of the show for you, too. Relationships. Your life.
We have interesting conversations.
Your brother will never look at you the same way once he saw me. Because he realized I was a big deal and that you get to be around me. And so then, you know, his respect for you dropped a little bit because then he suddenly realized.
I don't know how much respect he really has for me, to be honest with
you. What I want to say, though, ladies and gentlemen, to clarify, you will still get PS I Love You XO each and every Tuesday.
We're not taking a week off.
We're not taking a week off tech. Well, we're not, you're not going to miss a show. But what this means is that the cutoff is we're recording our 2 holiday shows that'll happen during our break on Friday the 18th. meaning that you need to be part of those shows. So you have to go to kindafunny.com/PSQ where you submit your questions for the show. Go there and basically put whatever questions you want for the show that'll follow this show. So you got, Tuesday through Thursday-ish, Friday morning of PlayStation news to cover there. That's the kind of ground you get to go and ask questions about. And then also include your ones for the next one, December 29th show there. That one, be big. Think big. Don't talk about news stories that'll be old-ass news by then. I need you to talk about, the big picture things, which a lot of you will write in about all the time. But that's how it goes.
Are you done?
I'm laying it out for them. Are you done?
Oh, I'm never done.
I feel like we're just getting started. Also, we're taking it off because of the holidays. Christmas in there. The perfect Christmas gift.
And Hanukkah. But
the perfect Christmas gift, or a Hanukkah gift, or Kwanzaa gift, or Festivus gift for you and I, Colin,
right,
is for everybody to go over to iTunes and leave us a review. We don't talk about this enough. Tim always yells at us because it means a lot to Tim, of course, who's out there playing Amplitude.
There
right
are a
now.
few things that mean more to Tim than good iTunes reviews.
It's true. So he needs you to go
specifically for our podcast.
Specifically for ours. See, Gamescast, he doesn't care about if you rate it or not. He'd like you to, but he doesn't care as much about this one. But if you could go over there, drop us some reviews and stuff. I was looking at them today. Amazing reviews. We haven't had some in quite some time. So let's get some new ones in there and stuff. I mean, it helps the algorithm or whatever. I don't know.
Hook your boy Colin M up.
We give Colin M a great Festivus gift and go over there and leave him a review.
And then we'll do the airing of grievances.
Yeah. Let's begin the show with what is and forever will be Roper's Report. Time for some news. Singular possessive.
There are... Gotta turn my mouse on.
It's okay.
There we go. There are 8 items on the list.
A tiny baker's dozen.
Number 1. PlayStation 4 was the best-selling console in the United States for the month of November 2015.
Surprising?
No. Sony noted that Black Friday sales of PS4 were, quote, the strongest in PlayStation history, end quote. So that conceivably PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, and even Vita. And the digital sales were also strong for the month, as November 2015 was the PlayStation Store's biggest month of all time. While it's unclear how many consoles PS4 pushed for the month, Microsoft's Aaron Greenberg noted that PS4, Xbox One, and Wii U combined for over 3 million sold in the country, so we can do a little math if we'd like. But I'm not going to.
Math sucks.
Now they announced 30, 31, 32 million at some point. The console by the end of the year worldwide has to be 35 plus, you would have to assume.
Okay.
I don't know. Nonetheless, they won. Now this goes back to what I was saying earlier in the year, and we started talking about in October especially, which was Xbox needs to win 2 of 3 months for it to remain what I would say hyper relevant amongst PS4's domination.
Sure.
And I don't mean that in any fanboy sort of way. It just means that PS4 is really pulling away. So I wanted to see if Xbox One could really keep things tighter in the holidays, which would bode well for it in 2016, even though there's a lot of exclusives coming to PS4, or Xbox One and PS4 actually in 2016. The thing is that, as we're going to see in number 2, Halo didn't sell very well compared, historically, at least at retail.
To what Halo numbers usually
Tomb Raider didn't even chart.
Sucks.
Great
game.
Forza's obviously already kind of come and gone. Gears of War, the special edition or whatever, the remake, kind of come and gone with the remaster. The games aren't going to get any bigger than Halo,
which is a problem.
So
back to your point, if you thought they were going to pull ahead, you would think that they had the 1 month. October was their month, right? November then was the next battleground, and it is Black Friday. This is when parents are buying the system. It is like you're trying to get a deal, right? This is when you're going out trying to move units, buy units, get something there. And the fact that they didn't get it in November really leaves it a question if it's possible to get in December.
Yeah, I mean, what it shows many things, but I think most predominantly it shows Sony has no exclusives. And we're going to get into that because someone said something about that at Sony this year.
Sons of bitches.
But they didn't need them. Because they partnered strategically with games that really mattered. And I think that, Battlefront, obviously a big game. Call of Duty, obviously a big game, although it sold better on Xbox, as we're going to get into in a minute.
Are we counting bundles in it?
We don't know. Okay. Well, we don't count them, but we don't know if that makes a difference.
Gotcha.
I can't imagine anyone bought that hideous PS4 bundle.
A lot of people did.
I'm sure they did. Ugly fucking console. Paint it. Don't paint it because I don't know if that'll make it not work.
Nah, it'll work fine.
You think so?
I mean, who the fuck knows, dude? There's a screw on the side buried in it that'll make it go all the time. Who the hell knows what's happening?
Yeah, you know what? Don't paint your console.
Don't touch it. Just put it away.
Just put it away. Yeah. Just play it and it's fine. But they bought, the Call of Duty bundle and the Battlefront bundle and the Uncharted bundle for the collection. And Uncharted is obviously an exclusive, but not the Uncharted we're waiting for. But it didn't really matter. So I'm wondering, and it didn't matter in the wake really of Halo of all games. Really, their biggest of all guns at Microsoft, Halo, or so we think. I've said and long said that Halo is on the wane.
And you thought Gears was on the upswing.
Yeah, and I think Gears is waxing. Now, because Gears looks awesome, and I also think Gears is just more ripe for storytelling. I think it's, in my experience, they're just better games. Now, I've only played Halo 1 and 2, but I know that I remember my experience with Gears much more than I remember my experience with Halo.
This is what we're talking about on a Gamescast that'll go live soon, right? Is that for me, Halo just as a franchise doesn't click. And this was the Halo where I was just like, you know what? It's me. It's not them. A lot of people love this game. For me, it's just not a thing. Gears, I enjoy playing. I look forward to playing Gears.
Yeah. So I think that next year will be good for Microsoft. I'm sure they have strong games. Quantum Break, Crackdown, maybe Scalebound comes out, whatever. Recore. But if Halo's not pushing units enough into its second month, then I just don't know what's going to really help Xbox One. In comparison to PS4, I still want to reiterate that Xbox One, even though they don't release numbers anymore, seems to be at parity, if not actually doing better than Xbox 360 at this point in its life cycle. But I don't know. And I also said, as we said on Colin and Greg Live, I don't know that there are many fronts that they can win on now, because the United States is the most meaningful of all economic fronts for lots of electronics, including Xbox and PlayStation.
Of course.
And here they can fight. But they're not going to win. They're getting trounced in Japan, although it's not a very important market anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say Japan's not doing well for PlayStation.
They do well
either.
in the UK, but not necessarily in mainland Europe. It just seems like PlayStation is really painting the map and painting Xbox into a corner where it's becoming, I don't want to say a niche machine because I don't think that's true at all, but a machine that is in second place, and I don't know if it's ever going to come out. I wasn't surprised that PS4 won the month, but I am interested to see how December now shakes out.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox One's very appropriately priced. There's some interesting bundles. They have a Fallout bundle. They have a Tomb Raider bundle. Poor Tomb Raider. Let's get into that.
Rest in peace.
Number 2. In addition to hardware success, PlayStation 4 also saw significant success at retail in the United States for the month of November in terms of software. 9 of the top 10 best-selling games for the month are available on PlayStation 4. The games in order of sales are Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Fallout 4, Star Wars Battlefront, Madden NFL 16, NBA 2K16, FIFA 16, Need for Speed, which I can't believe charted, Halo 5 Guardians, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and Just Dance 2016. With the exception of Halo 5, which is an Xbox One exclusive, Just Dance 2016, which sold best on Wii and Wii U, and Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which sold best on Xbox One, all games sold best on PlayStation 4. So when we're talking about what games we're talking about Fallout 4, even though Xbox had a bundle, and even though Xbox had the strategic partnership with them, Star Wars Battlefront, obviously, that's not a surprise, Madden NFL 16, NBA 2K16, FIFA 16, Need for Speed, Assassin's Creed. So now this is where we're going to get getting into the bundles and what they matter, because is Call of Duty Black Ops 3 I don't think MPD counts bundles. So how well did the bundle sell for PS4 to get Black Ops 3? I don't know. I still don't know if it really would have mattered. I do feel like this is a slow moving machine to get Call of Duty players over to PlayStation. It's not going to happen overnight. People play Xbox, or people that play Call of Duty play on Xbox. Mm-hmm. And that's not going to be that's going to be a glacial shift. I think it's a smart movement for them. Maybe. I don't know.
It's working. I do see, Ijustine's a great example. Like she really does love Call of Duty, and she'll text me every so often, and it'll be a photo of her playing with her. You know what I mean? Like she's actually sitting there and playing on her PlayStation 4.
And then, Halo, obviously, like I said, not on, only on Xbox One, but charted like 8th, I think. Just Dance charted 10th, sold best on Wii.
Not surprising, man. Like that's where that thing thrives. That's where that lives. I don't understand who is still using it, but the audience that would care about Just Dance is still using their Wii.
To the tune of several 100,000 at least.
Yeah.
Sold cumulatively across all platforms. So, I mean, the people still have that Wii plugged in. They're still playing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Assassin's Creed, moving towards PlayStation, Ubisoft obviously kind of in partnership with Sony a little bit more these days. The sports games, which were predominant on Xbox 360, are now really dominating on PS4. So the things are shifting. But it's important to note, Greg, before I let you jump in, that we don't know if the Call of Duty Black Ops 3 bundles helped. Mm-hmm. We have to say that the same thing, to be fair, about Fallout 4. That if the bundles helped for Xbox One, then it's possible that there were just more Xbox One copies out there. But the bundles, again, aren't counted. So that goes certainly both ways.
Sure. My point's done. My point was going to be that for Assassin's Creed and Madden, right? I think those are different beasts. Those are the kind of franchises that twist in the wind and go wherever the majority is, right?
They're very, I don't want to say casual, but they are more casual.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like for Call of Duty fans, right? If you're, it's the same thing as Destiny, as now Battlefront. Like if they announced a sequel to one of those games or an expansion, you're going to still play it on the console you're playing it on. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like Xbox players are into Call of Duty. Call of Duty players who are on Xbox or on PlayStation are going to continue on those trajectories, right? And then it'll, like you're saying, be a slow movement one way or the other. Whereas Assassin's Creed, it's not like, all right, well, I loved Black Flag, and that save would be red if I play, and I'm going to play Syndicate, and my save would get... No, there's no tie to them, right? Madden's Madden no matter where you play Madden.
Right. No, I agree. The other good news, when we're looking at this, is that we're starting to move full bore in the next-gen consoles,
Thank God.
in totality. Black Ops 3 is available and actually sold, I think, respectably on PS3 and Xbox 360, but Fallout 4 and Star Wars Battlefront number 2 and 3 are next-gen only games. Madden and NBA and FIFA, I mean, sports games generally are going to be available on legacy consoles, but did sell best on next-gen consoles. Need for Speed is next-gen only. Halo 5, obviously, next-gen only. Syndicate, next-gen only. So people are starting to put away the old consoles, which I didn't think was going to happen this quickly.
I'm glad
but
it is.
I am too.
With these numbers selling, it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, the number of these units that are getting moved, the number of PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones in the wild right now. Of course, you're buying that. You're excited. You want to buy games for it.
Sure. Number 3. Texas-based Gearbox Software has officially opened a new studio in Quebec City, Quebec, Canada, the home city of the Quebec Nordiques.
Oh!
The studio will aptly be called Gearbox Studio Quebec. Randy Pitchford had this to say, quote, "We are fortunate that there is a lot of demand on us to deliver our brand of interactive entertainment within the powerful franchises we have at Gearbox Software. And the challenge for us is growing to meet this demand." I want to say, by the way, I'm ending the quote for now, Randy Pitchford, I don't know if he wrote this himself or someone wrote it for him, not a big fan of commas, I'm noticing. Not a big fan of commas.
Okay.
Because I typed it up actually like manually instead of copying and pasting it because it was italicized.
And this is the
blocked.
statement they released.
Yeah. As part of our strategy, no comma, we have already successfully built and expanded all new headquarters in Frisco, Texas. We now look ahead to another key and exciting step, no comma, which is our commitment to our all new Gearbox Studio Quebec, no comma, where we strike to team up with some incredible talent in the world of video game development outside of Texas to help us build fun and exciting video games within our tentpole brands, end quote. The studio will be run by Sebastian Case, who worked business development at Quebecer Media and Squeeze Animation, and Pierre-Andre Derry, who was an art director at Activision. Now, the word about the studio is that they might do all sorts of things, but ultimately want to ramp up to a AAA capacity. And I wonder if they're going to be support on Borderlands 3.
Possible. It'll be interesting to see what they do, right? I mean, they were very clear of saying it's not just mobile, it's not just, you know what I mean? But when you're just saying, it felt like such a shotgun blast that they're going to do everything, but there's no, for the moment, mission statement as to what they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would love to know that, like, I'd love them to say they're up there and they're going to be working on games like this.
Let's also say that even though we've been, well, maybe not so you, I've been very bearish on Battleborn. You've been not bearish, but maybe not bullish.
Middle-ish. Middle English.
Status quo. It seems like they're fine. Like Gearbox, like they're making another studio. Like so their financial ramifications of Battleborn are probably not significant for them because 2K has obviously been in bed with them for a long time and they're probably incurring all the costs anyway. So
to jump into this, if you're just joining us, one of these new folks who wander in, you've been saying, and I it's this complicated thing. We don't not like Battleborn. We're saying that Battleborn has a really tough fucking road to hoe right now.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Is that going to be a successful game? Colin's like, no way. I think when Randy talks about it, when he gives me a demo of it, I'm excited about it, and then I walk away and it's hard to explain to other people, and I want to see it and I want to play it. When they come out of PSX and they're like, here's this new Penguin, it's like, cool. Like I want to play that game and just but even then it's like, am I going to really play it when it comes out?
I'm sure it's going to be good. But what I'm wondering is what about the console landscape indicates to us that game's going to succeed at all? Like what at all makes it seem like it's going to succeed? I mean, I think that game has abject commercial failure written on it. Like, I hope that I'm wrong because I like Gearbox and I like Randy Pitchford and I think the game looks cool. But when you think about the MOBA space, it's very PC centric. There are MMOs and MOBAs that are very successful, obviously wildly successful, but not all of them. Only a few of them.
Sure.
And I just don't know if that audience is there. I don't know if they're going to care.
And see, that's why it's been interesting to see them get away from the MOBA messaging, right? When we talked to him at GameStop Expo, he was very clear it's got MOBA tendencies, but it's not MOBA. And then even on the PlayStation experience, they didn't talk about that, right? Like,
you can play it by yourself. Apparently.
Exactly. And it's like, there's cool ideas there. You know what I mean? The idea of starting...
I'm not trying to shit on the game.
Oh, I know you're not.
I'm just trying to give my clarification.
My whole thing is like the fact that we need to come out and make clarifications and talk about this in such... I think that's the problem. I think the message is so muddled. You know what I mean? I don't know how you can put into a TV spot during Monday Night Football what Battleborn is and make everyone care.
Yeah,
so then it's on gamers to care, and then it is this thing. But it may work to its advantage that like the MOBA... idea works. You know what I mean? It is a success on PC and all this stuff, and you and I don't play it, and a lot of console people don't play it. Smite really is the only one doing it, right? And maybe Killstrain here, and they're doing different things, but they're not out yet. You know what I mean? If you get out, and it is a shooter that has mobile-like tendencies, and maybe those are the hooks that keep you coming back. It is a cool idea of, there's 26 characters in it, and I level up as I go, and then the match is over, and I'm back to 0, but there's a progression thing, but I'm still, every time jumping in.
The thing about Killstrain, though, is Killstrain's free. You know what I mean? Like, I can't see any way that this game is gonna be a thing. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I hope I'm wrong. I want every game to succeed. But I'll tell you right now, and I think you're the one that brought this up, if not about this game, about other games. I can say something about almost any game, and I'm gonna get tweets about it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think one person is tweeting me about Battleborn.
Incorrect. Last week somebody said, and I'm not even 100% clear how this came up because I don't remember us saying this, but they tweeted Randy Pitchford last week about something we said on this show, P.S. I Love You XOXO, about if they had announced the final character, the 26th character, and Randy responded. And I was confused because I didn't think we ever said that, but it was whatever. Somehow it was clear. But one guy out there, did you find him?
December 11th, Atlas Shrug tweeted at us, nice name, says, hey, Randy, Toby isn't the 26th Battleborn character, right? He's the 16th because no taxation in Game Over Greg said he was the 26th. Before that, I got a tweet on the 8th from Colton Dombrowski, who says, I agree with you on Battleborn. It reminds me of Insomniac's Fuse. Gamers just wanted Resistance Ratchet like they want Borderlands, which I completely agree with. Before that, December 5th, 2 people tweeted at me about Battleborn because of PSX. Before that, November 10th, November 4th,
Don't
September
3rd. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying you're wrong about like the level of interest and excitement. But also, would they come to us about this? Are either of you, you or I, the Battleborn guys? With a MOBA shooter.
I've gotten 12 tweets about this game in totality since it was launched. It was not announced. And all of them except for one. I don't think even one of them is about Battleborn the game since it's from 2012.
What's interesting about that, or a second ago what you said, right, is the fact that Killstrain is free versus Battleborn being paid. Mm-hmm. I thought it was interesting in your interview with Christian Phillips, right? There was this conversation about the fact that free-to-play is still a fucking dirty word, and that when they announced Killstrain's free-to-play, people were like, well, can't we just pay you for it? We would rather just pay you for it. Maybe going in this... I mean, right now, like, I don't know 100% what Battleborn is, and I won't know until I sit down and get a build and get to play it for a long time, right? But if you're trying to take what Gearbox is good at, shooter games, you're trying to take what's popular elsewhere, MOBA tendencies, pile them together, and then put them into this ecosystem that is console gaming. People are used to paying for games, and it's avoiding the usual trigger for console games of it's not just multiplayer. You can play alone. You can do this. You know what I mean? Like,
which they're stressing the shit out of now because they're scared.
Of course,
I'm sure that I'm not sure, but you have to assume they're not probably seeing strong pre-order numbers.
Yeah.
And there's some nervousness. I mean, when I saw Randy, and we know Randy, and I love Randy, I think he's a great guy. When I saw him on stage, I saw a little bit of nervousness in him. You know, I want you to make sure, I want to explain, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're running out of time to tell everyone what this game is. By the time E3 rolls around, it's over. I mean, the game's out, and so this is their last chance.
Sure.
And it reminds me of Evolve. You know, like, and actually, it reminds me of a way more subdued Evolve. People were really fucking stoked about Evolve.
Sure.
And it previewed super well, and people were excited about it, and I still thought it was clear that it wasn't going to do well. Because why would a game like that do well? Yeah. There's only so much mind share. There's only so many multiplayer games. It's like, if you play a multiplayer game, you play Battle. It's what we're talking about with Halo and Battlefront and Call of Duty and all this kind of stuff. Well, if you like multiplayer games on console, for instance, well, you have a few games to select from. You're not going to go into this weird fucking branching off path, probably, to play a smaller game with a smaller population, which is what Evolve was to me. And with Battleborn, it's a kind of a similar thing. It strikes me as like, well, you can play it by yourself, which is good, and that makes me confident that maybe I'll like it, and maybe I'll play it and I'll enjoy it. But there's only so much mind share. Not all of these games can succeed. If I was one of these publishers, I'd be like, we have to get off this fucking bandwagon of multiplayer games. We can have multiplayer parts of our game, but we need to make single player robust campaigns. And I'm telling you, with Titanfall, which did fine but definitely fell off the face of the planet at some point, that I'm sure I feel pretty confident saying Titanfall 2 will have a campaign.
Of course. Yeah. I think I agree with some of what you said. Here's the thing, is I really feel like Battleborn is a coin flip. I'm not going to, don't get me wrong, it's not going to blow up. It's not going to be this huge juggernaut success. But I think we're underselling the fact that to a lot of people, Gearbox shooter sells them. Gearbox does have a super dedicated audience, right? That loves Borderlands and loves all these things. And like for me, what I get excited about hearing it is the fact of like, oh great, another game for Christine and I to play. You know what I mean? Like we love the Borderlands shooters together. Now it's not the exact same thing, and it's not maybe the shooter mechanics of what brings me back and forth to it, right? But it's the fact that it's not 100% like Evolve, because Evolve, the whole problem with and why I predicted it would have trouble from day one, right, is specialization. Like you jump in there and you have to have this healer, you have to know this, do you know your character, do you know the monster, da-da-da-da. Here, there's every one of these characters has different powers and different abilities and all these different things, but the fact that you start at 0 every time and build up, the fact that you can play by yourself, the fact you can go home, you can get it night 1, sit around, try 5 guys in 5 different matches and be like, no, okay, I want to commit to this, right? And I don't feel the thing, since there's no investment in it, that I need to get better and better and better, that it's like, I'm going to play with Christine, but then if for some reason, Kevin gets into it and wants to do it, he's playing the character I normally play, maybe I have a backup that I jump in and play. I'm not saying, I don't know. There's no crystal ball on this one. I agree. I kept saying, right? It is definitely rolling this boulder up a very steep hill, and the one misstep and it rolls back and crushes you, and probably that's what's going to happen, right? But there's a chance they could get it over it. Maybe. And again, I'm not saying it tumbles down and picks up speed and becomes this runaway bestseller, but I do think they could find an audience easier than Evolve did.
Oh yeah, I can't agree with you there.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I agree. I hear what you're saying. We'll see how it pans out, but I cannot agree that Evolve had a less likely chance of succeeding than Battleborn. I think the exact opposite is true.
Wow.
Like, for sure.
Okay.
Based just on the way Evolve was pushed, and we're not at IGN anymore, like a big outlet, so we don't know what the hype is. Sure. But I remember the hype around Evolve being significant.
Yeah, this is a great game. Let's play this. Everybody go back and play this.
And I was just looking at NeoGAF. I just searched on not NeoGAF's indicative of anything. I mean, NeoGAF's just a forum, but it's a good barometer of the hardcore.
Oh, look at us saying the same things.
Oh, I want to fucking make out with you.
I want to kiss you.
But it is a good barometer of hardcore sensibilities. Yeah. The most recent one is like, here's like 4 hours of Battleborn's multiplayer. Not even one page. It's just one page. The comments. This kind of indifference is the perfect way of reflecting my thoughts on the game, says one person. It's kind of impressive how little impression this game has made. Mm-hmm. Another person says. I'm going to bring a hot take to this. I have zero interest whatsoever in it. Sorry, Gearbox. Poor choice all around. Another person says there are free-to-play games that look better and better than Battleborn. No idea what 2K is thinking.
Sure.
So there, to me, and when I go back and it's like there's another one from a bigger one from August, and it's like at Battleborn, what we know so far, 4 pages. Just to give you an example, NeoGAF, Danganronpa. Okay?
That doesn't even count, though. That's what we're talking about. It's the hardcore.
Trigger Happy Havoc, the first game, 84 pages.
Go to kindoffunny.com and how many PlayStation videos are up versus Xbox videos. That doesn't, you know what I mean? That's not indicative of every. The Nintendo videos probably outplay the Xbox videos for us. It's just what we're into. It's how this crowd. Here's the thing I'm going back to. You're missing.
Oh, you double clicked there. Oh, that was an accident.
We're on the same page. I think I'm giving it more of a. I think there's a slim chance that this goes fine. All the hype behind Evolve, all the stuff talking about Evolve coming up, didn't help Evolve.
No, it didn't. And in fact, I felt like there was even a bit of a backlash.
Yeah.
About Evolve, because not with normal people, but with people are like, this was so hyped. People are sick of everything being hyped. I'm fucking certainly sick of everything being hyped. So I'm trying to set realistic expectations, listen, there are only a few games we should be really excited for. Danganronpa 3.
Yeah. Persona 5.
Dragon Quest 9. Or no, Dragon Quest 11. We could be excited about Dragon Quest 9. It came out like 5 years ago, but we can be excited about that.
I'm always excited about it. Taco Master
on Vita. But realistically, I don't know. That's just, we will find out who's right.
But it's one of those things.
And again, I wish it well. I hope Battleborn sells fucking 5 million copies and proves me wrong. I think Gearbox is a great studio.
Sure.
It's
not a who's
the tea leaves aren't very good.
Exactly. They're not netting out well, and that's the whole thing I'm saying. I'm not saying it's about one of us being right or wrong. I'm not like saying I'm very clear. I'm being very clear here. I think this is going to be really, really, really a tough sell. I think it has a shot at being successful, and when I mean successful, I don't mean 12 million units. I mean that it finds an audience and people enjoy it and it's a good game and it reviews well.
Yeah, I wonder if 500,000 is going to be a success for that game. Yeah. And I think that might even be pretty bullish.
Yeah.
Number 4. Not surprisingly, DICE is hard at work on its next game. And it's, you guessed it, a Battlefield game.
Oh my God.
Word comes by way of Dan Vaderlin, DICE's development director, who tweeted out, quote, "Now that we've shipped Battlefront and a part of the team continues to work on it, I am moving on to another project, the next Battlefield," unquote. That's all he said. Now, I'm interested in what you think of this, Greg. Does this indicate to you that DICE is going to make 2 games at once? Battlefront 2, Battlefield 5? Or does it indicate that they're done with Battlefront, that Battlefront's now going to be moved to another studio, and they'll now jump over to Battlefield? I'm of the mind that they're probably going to split, if they haven't already, and if they haven't maybe even had this mantra for a while. They do have multiple locations.
Yeah.
LA and
See, I think
Stockholm,
that's the thing, is it's a cycle thing, right? So now that Battlefront's out, you have the majority of the team break off to make or work on Battlefield or whatever. Meanwhile, the other guys keep making DLC, right? And then when Battlefield is about done or out, they'll switch back and come back to Battlefront and work on Battlefront 2 or however they do.
I wonder what EA's plan with Battlefront is. I'm not so sure that they're going to be patient enough to wait. You know, Battlefield 4 came out 2013, so
yeah.
The new Battlefield will come out 2017, maybe 20. I mean, unless it's really far along and it's 2016. I don't know. I'm just wondering what. I guess what I'm trying to read is what is EA's interest in making Battlefront biannual or even annual, because this is going to be way bigger than Battlefield.
Yeah.
So
I mean, honestly, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the DLC this month, right? Or is that out now?
I don't know.
I'm talking about when the numbers start coming through. No, it's out because that's what we're talking about. PSX, which is 2 weeks ago.
So this was past Tuesday. I think
so fucking fast. How does that sell? How does that move? And what is the commitment then to putting out more of that, or is it get to work on the rest, right? Like, because I think when people talk about it is that it's content sparse on Battlefront. So if you were to keep putting out DLC, which they've said there's a season pass, like there's stuff coming. At the end, does that game look super complete? And then when it's finally done, when the season pass content's done, is that when you start worrying about Battlefront 2?
Yeah. They better start worrying about it soon.
Kylo Loren, he'll be in it.
Number 5, in case you were curious, if Jeff Keighley's salvo at Konami during the Game Awards was rehearsed, it wasn't. Word comes by way of a Reddit AMA garnered from GameSpot, in which Keighley noted, quote, "It just broke my heart that he couldn't be with us. Something had to be said. I didn't tell anyone on the show team what I was going to say, and it wasn't rehearsed." Nice. Ellipsis. I wanted him to know that we were thinking of him. I was trying to do all I could to make him feel connected to the show, even if he couldn't be with us physically in LA. Heartbreaking situation, end quote. Yeah. Not a huge surprise. I thought it was pretty clear that it wasn't rehearsed, but that just goes to show you Jeff Keighley didn't even trust, or not trust, I want to say that, but didn't even tell his own people to warn them. Let's say that.
Jeff wanted to lay somebody out. Didn't want Konami getting involved. Put a pachinko machine in to host. And
congratulations to our friend Jeff Keighley. I heard it was quite successful, that it should be back next year, and that it did over 2 million viewers.
Good job, Jeff.
Great. So good for him.
Trending gamer.
Number 6, was PlayStation's exclusive lineup of games strong enough for 2015? No, according to Michael Ephraim, managing director of Sony Computer Entertainment Australia. Here's what he said, quote, "Games that have been released this year, from Destiny, Call of Duty, Star Wars, most of them we have a collaboration with for additional content if you play on PlayStation 4. So we're pretty confident the way Christmas is going. The demand is strong. We have worked very closely with third parties this year because our first party lineup was not as strong as we would have liked." End quote. What do you make of that?
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about, right?
Yeah, but I mean, but usually they're a little more dodgy than that.
They don't need to be anymore. They're PlayStation. They're on top, and they're winning because they're giving you personal faces and actual quotes and not being robots. Same reason Xbox coming on strong, because Phil Spencer's a likable guy, and I want him to succeed, and I want these different things for him.
Sure. I don't think it mattered, but
no, I mean, clearly it didn't matter. That's the whole thing. Like, how many more units could they have squeezed out of this year if they had Uncharted 4?
Yeah, I mean, as almost a thought exercise, I often wonder recently if they've dodged a bullet by not releasing anything this year, because they're going to need them more next year. They're not probably going to have a Battlefront next year. Yep. Fallout's not going to come out. Mass Effect's going to be big.
Yeah. But who's going to get that?
Probably Microsoft. Yeah. If they're smart, no one. EA's probably quite nervous. Square's certainly nervous now about working with Microsoft. It's different now.
Yeah.
If I was these publishers, these third-party publishers, I'd be like, guys, everyone fuck off. Like, we don't need... We want your marketing dollars.
That's what I'm going to say. It's easy to say fuck off. It's not easy to say, hey, if you let us slap the PlayStation logo / Xbox logo at the end of it, when you can be on Monday Night Football for 4 weeks or whatever.
But I don't think it benefits the consumer. And I think some of these companies are starting to realize that. Look at the way Tomb Raider just dropped like a fucking rock.
Sure. That's,
you know what I mean?
But see, now you're talking about two different things, though. I'm not talking about console exclusive.
So
I'm
you're talking about
console advertising dollars.
Right.
No one's
same
gonna,
release. Okay,
no one's going to get Andromeda exclusively.
No, you're right.
Who's going to get the chance to say PlayStation better on PlayStation?
Sure, you're right.
I'm Kevin Butler and I'm back. It's better.
I'm Jackie Trenton.
What's up, everybody?
I'm Jackie T. Back for one last hurrah.
Takes his sunglasses, slams them on. Looks like Shepard needs me.
I'll never forget walking on the Virgin America flight to the PlayStation 4 reveal in January of 2013, I guess it was, or was it
Yeah.
2014? 2013. And I look to my right immediately, and Jackie T's sitting in fucking first class, and he's like,
Do you have
like-
anybody next to him?
No,
'Cause I would
don't
grab the flight attendant and been like, I want however many thousands of dollars right now to sit next to him.
I wanted to talk to him, and I was like, you know what? Let's just. Hey,
Colin.
Colin. Thanks for that great interview.
Jack Trenton's the fucking man. We got to get Jack
I
Trenton
miss
back.
Jackie T.
I miss him too.
He's a good guy. When I was on a first name basis with him, and you were for a longer period of time, that was pretty cool.
Those were the days.
Jackie T. Number 7.
One of the biggest regrets of my life is that I met someone at a party that was a developer, or it was either a developer on indie games or not even connected to the video game industry, but was young. And the story he told me was that his family was his like dad was best friends with Jack Trenton, and that they would go off and like vacation together. So he grew up with Jack Trenton, like water skiing with Jack Trenton, just being around Jack Trenton. I was like, tell me everything.
I just wanted to have a beer with Jack
Our
Trenton.
unnatural obsession with this man.
And it really is weird, isn't it? They have to bring him back. Bring back Jack.
We should bring back Jack. We can get him for something. What do we
Sean
use him for?
Lane's fantastic, by the way. No
Of course.
offense. I don't
Not at all.
want Sean Lane to leave. I don't want Sean Lane to not be the CEO and president.
Sean, you want
I want Jack Trenton to be a symbolic figurehead.
exactly.
You know,
Sean Layden doing a great job. It's been awesome to see him. I was gonna say age. That's not what mature into the role. You know what I mean? Because I remember his first time on stage or whatever. Not shaky, but you know how you gotta get comfortable with it.
Yeah, we don't
And
know
then you
him.
come out at PSX. He's wearing a Crash shirt. And he's like, hey, fuck you guys.
I'm fucking Sean Layden.
Worst Sean Layden impression I've
Doing
ever
the Jack
heard.
Trenton, doing the Jack Trenton impression. Bad Jack Trenton impression. Doing
The bad Jack Trenton impression is fine though. We're doing a Jack Trenton. Awesome.
What would be funny is if Jack Trenton came out at E3 and just pretended he was Sean Layden.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? I'm Sean Layden.
So like all these people rush out and he runs away.
And I'm here to tell you about PlayStation Move. And then they all Jack, it's not 2010 anymore.
We're gonna
Jack.
make it work.
Number 7 comes from Yoshinori Kitase. This comes from the Square Enix blog, and it's a message from him about the Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I got that message.
Specifically about what they talked about at PSX 2015. And this was clearly, I think, at least in my interpretation, a response to the "what the fuck are you doing" reaction to Final Fantasy VII Remake. So here's what he said. Quote, "For many years, people around the world have asked me, will you ever remake Final Fantasy VII? For many years, I gave the same answers, and on a personal level, having made the original Final Fantasy VII, did I really want to spend so many years making the same game again?" Now, I want to end the quote here to say he never actually answers this question. Continuing the quote. "With Final Fantasy VII Remake, we have the opportunity to go beyond the story, world, and experience of Final Fantasy VII in ways we've never dreamed of. From the depths of Midgard to the skies above the planet. The multi-part format enables us to expand the original story and turn it into an epic experience for fans and new gamers alike. This past weekend at PlayStation Experience, we were thrilled to present more of Final Fantasy VII Remake. It was great to see so much excitement when we surprised everyone with the first gameplay footage, and it was a treat for us to show the development is going well and further along than perhaps many had realized. Just like when we revealed the announcement trailer at E3 earlier this year, we like surprising you.
You do.
One thing we wanted to be clear about during the weekend to accompany the new trailer was the scale of the project. We wanted to tell you this now and not in the future so that you'd share our vision for what we want to deliver. The biggest reason we haven't done a remake until now is because it's a massive undertaking to reconstruct Final Fantasy VII from the ground up with the current technology. Producing a proper HD remake of Final Fantasy VII that maintains the same feeling of density of the original world would result in a volume of content that couldn't possibly fit into one installment. We've seen everyone's comments and reactions to the news that Final Fantasy VII Remake will be a multi-part series, and many have speculated correctly as to the reason why we have made this decision. If we were to try to fit everything from the original into one remake installment, we would have to cut various parts and create a condensed version of Final Fantasy VII. We knew none of you would have wanted that. I hope that by explaining a little more about our design decisions that you can appreciate the size of this project and what we have planned for this remake. Going beyond the scale and depth of the world, narrative, and gameplay from the original to deliver something that feels familiar yet new. As I said before, we like delivering surprises. See you all soon and happy holidays. Yoshinori Kitase. What a bizarre... good man. I've met him. Nice person. I think I met him when I was in Tokyo last time. I could be wrong. Was it him? God, I'll have to ask Mitch about it now. I think it was. Nonetheless, nonsense.
The Champ 2105 writes in to kindoffunny.com/PSQ just like you can to be part of the show and says, hey guys, After listening to your opinions about Final Fantasy VII being split into episodes, I can't understand why everyone is upset about Final Fantasy VII. It's my favorite game of all time, and I don't mind the game being split into episodes as long as they don't cost more than $30 per episode. Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII were huge games, and the amount of detail in those pre-rendered backgrounds are breathtaking. Putting that detail into full 3D and HD would not only take a lot of time, but also a lot of money. Yes! People say games like The Witcher 3 and Fallout 4 are huge games, but let's be honest. They reuse a lot of the same assets, and there are a lot of empty lands. Novigrad is the biggest city in Witcher 3, but Novigrad is small when you compare it to Midgar, both in size and detail.
No, Final Fantasy VII didn't have any empty space at all. No.
As a fan, I will want the detail of the pre-rendered backgrounds and would want every city and town to be recreated. Fans want the Japanese voices. Fans will want fully motion and acted cutscenes. The game will have to span across multiple Blu-rays, in other words. Over 80 gigabytes worth of data before patches. I think the episodic model is good for this, and we will get to play it earlier. We already know the story, so who cares about waiting for the next episode? Games are harder to create, and amount of money and time it takes to develop them is ever increasing. Remaking RPGs of the past is a huge task. I think everyone is being hard on Final Fantasy VII being episodic. We are finally getting it remade. Everyone should be happy. The Champ 2105.
That's some Square Enix apologies right
it's
there.
Him. It's the same guy who wrote the blog post.
It's Yoshinori Kitase. Listen, everyone's entitled to their own opinions on this.
Right.
I'm excited about it. I'm interested to see what CyberConnect can do. I'm not going to rehash all the shit we already talked about with CyberConnect, and even what I want to talk about here is I went into this with an open mind, right? Into the whole experience, and I certainly went into this blog post when I read it with an open mind. I did. I've been asking for this game for years, and it took me 5 seconds to dissect and make this sound stupid in my own mind. Because here's what he's suggesting, Greg.
Lay it on me. Yeah.
Here's the fucking crux of the issue. Final Fantasy VII is so big and so grand of a game that it can't possibly fit into one game, right? It can't possibly fit on a disc. Oh, but Final Fantasy 15 can.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes no fucking sense. And therefore dissects and destroys the entire argument that's being constructed. Because if that's true, then what he's basically saying is Final Fantasy 15 is not as big as Final Fantasy 7. And that the Final Fantasy 7 remake will be bigger than the Final Fantasy 15 that they've been working on for almost 10 years. Sorry, that doesn't add up to me. Usually when I go into something, I'm like, should this be dissected? Let me think about this. There's something, something right or something wrong, and I reflect on it. I was in the middle of reading it. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And if I was at Square Enix, I would have been like, you can't write this.
Stop. Stop what you're doing.
Because it obviously went through PR.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. You can't say that. Because producing a proper HD remake, is what he says, quote, producing a proper HD remake of Final Fantasy VII that maintains the same feeling of density of the original would result in a volume of content that couldn't possibly fit into one installment.
Couldn't possibly do it.
Are you insane?
Couldn't do it. Possibly.
You're saying a game from 1997... remade in all of its HD glory on Unreal 4, whatever they're going to use, is bigger than... I mean, the insinuation is it's too big to be one game. And I just don't... I just think that's weird. I'm sorry. If you want to release it episodically because you want to get it out or you have a story to tell, you maybe you even want one to be an action RPG and one to be a traditional RPG. Like, whatever you want to do. Cool. But what they're saying doesn't make sense. And I don't understand how I'm not seeing more of that because of what it says about newer games. Final Fantasy VII is a great game and it's a beloved game. It's an important game. It's one of the most important games ever made. It was important for PS1. PS1 was on the map because of Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII brought mainstream gamers into the Japanese role-playing games for the first time. Japanese role-playing games were proliferating for over 10 years before Final Fantasy VII came out, but a lot of people didn't play them. And so Final Fantasy VII is very important. It's a beloved game, and I'm playing it again, and I'm enjoying it on PS4. Yeah. But it's nonsense, this insinuation that this game is so much bigger than other games. It's not. I'm sorry. I've played many role-playing games. Final Fantasy VII isn't even the biggest Final Fantasy game. Nonetheless, the biggest role-playing game and this biggest mind-blowing game that couldn't possibly be made in one... Give me a break. Witcher 3 is a great example. Witcher 3 is a fucking massive game.
Do you need me to remind you of what the champ said?
No.
About The Witcher 3? The champ is here.
So, you know what? I hope it's great, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope that their vision for this game is so insane and it includes all of this extra story, and they make it into 3 games if it's really 3 games worth, but the insinuation that they can't remake Final Fantasy VII at once is incredibly nonsensical to me. That just doesn't make any sense. I don't. So when I read this and I'm like, this is bad. Like this is not the way you want to explain it. If I were them, I don't know what their real reason is, and maybe this is the real reason. Maybe that's what they're telling themselves, right? We can't possibly make this game at once. We need time. Because what they're also saying is if it can't be in one installment, then you're if it's so big, right, that they want to make this into multiple installments, but the installments are only being made because you can't make it into one game, then you're going to pay like $180 for this.
Yeah.
You know, so I hope that that's not true, but so I'm reading all these things in this. I'm like, guys, what are you doing? Like, you shouldn't have even said anything about it being episodic. You should have just held that as long as humanly possible. That's not something we need to know. Yeah. Because I'll say it again, I don't know that that's the right move, and I don't know that they're going to stick to it. I want to just reiterate that. I want to just sit and ask them, like, really talk to them about this and to be like, come on, guys. Like,
they're going to stick to it. They want to get this game out and it's not done. And this is all about. It's about actually hitting the date, or not even hitting the date, getting it out as soon as possible and making some money. I think you're going to pay $60 for this thing. I think you're going to get the first episode. I think you'll have to wait probably 9 months to a year for the next episode. Then I think it's going to be 12 months to 18 months for the next episode. And then I think, is it even going to finish? You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of shit I think this is up against. As an outsider looking in episodic gaming and how it normally goes, let alone for this game that's been gestating and seemed to be so convoluted.
It's just saying we've seen everyone's comments and reactions to the news that Final Fantasy VII Remake will be a multi-part series, and many have speculated correctly as the reason why we have made this decision. If we were to try to fit everything from the original into one remake installment, we would have to cut various parts and create a condensed version of Final Fantasy VII. We know none of you would have wanted that. Of course we don't want that, but why? Is that really the suggestion we're going to go on? Is that Final Fantasy VII is this beloved role-playing game because it's big? It's a big game. There's a lot to that game. There's no doubt about it. But I don't accept for 1 minute that it is the biggest and the grandest and the most, awe-inspiring scope of a game. I mean, I've never heard anyone explain Final Fantasy VII like that ever until this. Yeah. And then everyone starts coming out of the woodwork being like, well, Final Fantasy VII is a massive game. And I'm like, sorry, dude. Like, I've been around... I'm cognizant of the entire time Final Fantasy VII was out. I bought a PS1 for Final Fantasy VII. I was there from day one. I played this game, and I'm sorry, I don't accept that. So, like, I just think that this is weird PR, and it's not even that I know I sound more upset about it than I am. I'm just disappointed that they're just doubling down on this nonsense. Just tell us the truth. I don't want to insinuate that anyone's lying. That's not what I want. So I don't want to say tell us the truth, but just kind of like level with us a little bit here. What's going on? Are you really going to stick to this narrative that this game is just the biggest? Yeah. After Fallout 4 just came out, after Witcher just came out, after Dying Light just came out, we're going to get Cyberpunk in the future. We're going to get Final Fantasy 15. It's bigger than Final Fantasy 15.
Weird messaging.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was the weirdest one of all. It's not even about all those other games. Maybe Final Fantasy 7 is legit bigger than Witcher 3 if you go do pound for pound. Maybe that's true. I don't think so. He was talking about empty spaces. I mean, the whole world map's an empty space in Final Fantasy 7. So I don't accept that narrative either. But that aside, Final Fantasy 15 is one game. Not too big to be one installment. And then you're insinuating that a game 8 entries ago, released 18 years ago, is bigger.
We'll see.
Sorry, I don't mean to harp on that too long, but that gets me.
I understand. Don't worry. You don't apologize. You're a valued part of the show. You can do whatever you want.
Number 8. This is when we kind of wrap everything up.
The wrap up, we call it.
Random announcements.
Roper's Report wrap up.
Minecraft Story Mode's 4th episode, called A Block and a Hard Place, will be launched on PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 on December 22nd. Action-oriented tower defense game McDroid will come to PlayStation 4 in early 2016.
I hate these McDonald's tie-ins.
Adventure-like game Cosmocoria is coming to PlayStation 4 early in 2016. Retro-inspired local multiplayer game Stardust Vanguards launches on PlayStation 4 on January 19th, 2016. EA's Unravel, the puzzle platformer first revealed at E3 2015, finally launches for PlayStation 4 on February 9th, 2016.
Yarny!
And Street Fighter's Akuma has been officially revealed as part of the roster for Tekken 7.
Ooh.
So those are all the little pieces of news, and the Roper's Report is all but dead.
Oh my God. For this week. For this week. It'll rise like a phoenix from the ashes next week.
Right.
But it won't come back the week after that, probably.
No.
That'll just be an all listener mail show. Remember, you have to go to kindoffunny.com/PSQ to be part of the shows we're doing on Friday. All right, great. Colin, I'm super excited for Unraveled because it's Yarny and he's cute. But it's so far away. If I want to know what's coming to stores, both digital and mom and grop today, where would I go?
You go to the official list of upcoming PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, sometimes PSP, PS2 classics, etc., etc., etc. Software by the Kind of Funny co-founders.
By Taco Master.
Oh, I've never heard that one before.
I put a little Taco Master in there because I'm dreaming about it right now, making them tacos.
There's not much this week at all.
Good.
Blaze Rush, PlayStation 4 digital. It's out the 16th, so this is a Wednesday release. It says Blaze Rush is a dynamic arcade racing survival game with no health, no leveling, and no breaks. Sounds great. You can assemble a team of friends to play in local or online multiplayer. Adapt your style and tactics to new enemies, obstacles, and tracks. Parappa the Rapper 2 comes to PlayStation 4 digitally. It's a PS2 trophy-enabled classic. The original rap star's back in the house. See if you have enough rhythm to keep the beat with everyone's favorite rapping puppy. Parappa the Rapper returns with all new songs to keep your head bopping and PS4 bumping.
Now, am I allowed to be excited for this or not?
No, I wouldn't be. Parappa the Rapper 2 is pretty weak.
Dang it.
Now,
Now, is it only weak in comparison to Parappa the Rapper 1?
Yeah. It's
so
a
if
fine
you've never
game.
played another Parappa Rapper, then you're a super young kid out there.
If it's $10 or $15, I think it's probably worth it. I paid $50 for it the day it came out.
Yeah.
And I was done with it the day I bought it, so it was quite disappointing. But it's I love Parappa the Rapper. I'm really surprised this hasn't come back.
Yeah,
like
me
a
too.
new one. And I
Yeah.
wonder if they're testing the waters.
I hope so. Because he was such a big hit with PlayStation All-Stars.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 comes to PS3 digital and at retail.
Don't do it.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 offers a fresh take on combo-driven skateboarding. Ride, build, and repeat. Fresh take's one way to put it. And finally, Towerfall Ascension comes to Vita digital.
No shit, really?
Cross-buy with PS4.
Huh.
Towerfall Ascension is the definitive version of the hit archery combat game. The core mechanics are simple and accessible, but hard to master, and combat is fierce. The Dark World expansion is also available this week.
Nice.
We love Towerfall, so
We do.
welcome to Vita.
This is also the game I'm better than David Jaffe at.
Well, that's what you say.
That's what I keep saying. Until he proves me wrong, comes for the Towerfall Championship belt.
Okay. I'm going to itch my underarm here.
You sweating? You got sweaty
I got a
armpits?
little sweat, but I'm not up in the armpit. I'm at like more at the top of the rib cage.
Gotcha.
That's it for the games.
That means it's time for topic of the show. Tots. I had a feeling, and as you can see, we're already going long, that we would be going long. So topic of the show comes from kindoffunny.com/PSQ. It's an interesting question that I thought we could talk a little bit about. And again, you're going to jump to the conclusion. This is similar to remember when we did Red Dead vs. Last of Us. Remember this?
I remember. I don't remember jumping to conclusions there, but
He did.
Okay.
Z Burr writes into kindoffunny.com/PSQ just like you can. It says, "What's up, guys?"
hello.
It doesn't really answer the question.
Nothing.
Okay, yeah, we're doing a show. No big deal. I'm finding myself in a bit of a quandary. As someone who has never touched a Grand Theft Auto title, should I pick up Grand Theft Auto 5 or one of the older PS2 titles? Playing the newest entry would be cool, but I'm also up for downloading an older one, especially now there's trophies involved. I'm just looking for a nudge in the right direction, and I trust you guys to set me on the right path. Thank you, Zach. P.S. I love you, but don't tell my girlfriend. I think this is tougher than it is. At first glance, it sounds pretty easy, I feel like. You know what I mean? At first glance, I think nostalgia takes over, and I tell you, what are you talking about? Buy one of the old ones. You say 3. You say start there, not Vice City.
My instinct
This is where it gets so fucking complicated.
My instinct is this. Vice City's my favorite one by
Yeah.
a mile. That soundtrack.
Exactly.
But wouldn't it be fun if a person like him has never played a Grand Theft Auto game before to just play them all?
I agree.
3 Vice City, San Andreas, 4, 5 in that order, and see where they've been. If you can crunch those into like you can 3 Vice City and San Andreas aren't that big, especially 3 in Vice City. San Andreas is big.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to see like start from the beginning.
Sure.
I want to go back and play 3 because I haven't played 3 in a long time. Like since maybe at the latest freshman in college, but I think that's probably even too much. I think I might have been in high school last time I played 3. So I was in high school when it came out. I was in 12th grade. So wouldn't it be fun to like be able to experience that again and then jump to the next one until you get to 5? I
agree with it. I agree that that's a cool way to go about it, but I worry about he just wants a nudge in the direction. Sounds like he wants one taste of it. You know what I mean? And that's where it gets complicated. Is that I love 3. 3 revolutionary. 3 I remember.
3 is a revolutionary
I'll
game.
never ever forget getting that EGM and opening it up and they had the one box and it was the screenshots talking about GTA 3 and I was like, they were like open world sandbox 3D. And I was like, there's no way. Games can't do that. That's impossible. Because I was a GTA 2 fan. You know what I mean? Top down, me and my friends running around being a bunch of idiots in there. To see like you're gonna be on the street as this guy didn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So I remember
doesn't make sense. That's why you're screaming at your.
Shoe, you lying son of a bitch. I remember like that being such a moment, and then getting that game, and like for me it was getting in college, my freshman year playing it, and having the door open and people come in. This is the game you kill hookers in, and then sitting down and listening to Chatterbox. People would bring in popcorn and watch me play this game. And then Vice City came along, and Vice City for me was such a step up. It was the freedom and the gameplay and the world of GTA, but we were voiced by Ray Liotta, and it was colorful, and Phil Collins is in it, and the soundtrack was unbelievable. And then San Andreas was that step that some people thought maybe was a step too far, but really what it was them Rockstar tipping their hat to what was coming, right? Because I think back then that was so preposterous, that game and what was happening, and I think they might have put too much into it.
Yeah, too much. Not even role playing, but just
the minutia.
Too much. Yeah.
Hey,
much.
Now you're skinny. Now you're fat. Do you want to work out? Do you want to do this? Well, how long does it take me to work out? You got to work out quite a while. Well, fuck that. No, I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there was cool things to it where I liked if you ran more, your endurance went up, so you could run longer and stuff like that. And I loved the game of it. I loved Samuel L. Jackson. I loved the character. I loved flying planes and jumping out and doing all this different stuff. But then like all those games are so great that I always like. When we talk about it, if you have to do one, I always think now go back and play Vice City. So then for me, it becomes, do I want to recommend to him Z Burr, also known as Zach? I don't like it when your username is one thing and then you sign off as something. Confuses me. Do I want to recommend Vice City, or do I want to recommend GTA 5? I love GTA 5 as well, and GTA 5 is that game of, especially for him if he's got a PlayStation 4, right? And he's like, I want to see something cool on this. GTA 5 on PlayStation 4 looks better, first-person mode, all these different things, so much to do, so much to see. It's a conundrum in a way. You know what I mean? Especially, and this is something else, and this is where I think the question gets really interesting is, what does Vice City play like, look like, sound like now? I haven't gone back. I very much, Vice City is what my interpretation of it was when I was at Mizzou playing it. You know what I mean? I have not gone back to Vice City ever. You know what I mean? I Grand Theft Auto 3, when it came to iPad, I remember I did previews for IGN. I did a bunch of stuff, did a Let's Play. Like, I know what that game looked like there, and I was like, oh, man, this is a lot more empty than I remember it. Because at the time, it was this bustling metropolis that we were running around doing things in Liberty City. And so then for Vice City, like, this Christmas break, it's one of the games on my list that I'd love to download, play, and, in a perfect world, run through and get trophies and have a great time, but just see it and be in that world again. And that's where it gets super complicated for me. Is that I feel like if I recommend Vice City, I am recommending Vice City from Greg Miller, age, what would that be? It was right after GTA 3, right? So age 19. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how it's aged out. And I know people had a whole bunch of gripes with 5. You never beat GTA 5, right?
No.
You kind of fell out of it, right?
Yeah, it just didn't catch me.
I stuck through it. I loved it. I love the performances. And even if you don't like the performances, the world, how big that world is, and GTA Online and all these, you know what I mean? There's so many facets to it.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to like how you should spend your money, even though, again, it's $15 for the classic, and then
there's no good answer, I guess.
You could theoretically get both, I think.
There's no good answer, but there's also, all of them are good answers. Mm-hmm. I would love to see people that have never played a Grand Theft Auto game to start with 3 and work all the way through.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. That's an awesome idea.
I think you can ignore 1 and 2 and London and all that kind of stuff. Just go right to 3 and just pop right through. But
even that said, if you're gonna do that, I would love you to play GTA 2 first, just for a little bit. I'm sure you can get off.
Well, the paradigm shift between the two is pretty impressive. We all experienced that, but
now it is so second nature
so
that
quaint,
this game is awesome and it's open world and you can do whatever you want and and shoot from. But like, to go back to that moment of me and my friends playing GTA 2 all the time after we'd backyard wrestle, we'd come in and we'd sit there and then just run around and screw around and see who could kill all the Elvises and what could you get your star level to and and then to see that screenshot of this guy in green pants and a black jacket, and you're like, what? Like, I'm gonna play that character?
Yeah, 2 is quaint compared. It's funny, like the jump. It's not an obvious jump. Like what they did was very brilliant. What they really did revolutionize games. Grand Theft Auto is just found its way into everything after that. So
yeah, exactly. You're talking about sandbox world. That's where it all starts.
Yep.
So yeah, there's no good answer, but there's no wrong answer.
No, I would say. I would say 3. But
he says 3. I say look into your heart and decide if you want a history lesson, and then I would say Vice City, or if you want to just be current and see all the bells and whistles and what games can do now and switching perspectives and
Sure.
And definitely more hours out of that game. I mean, we played those games a lot because San Andreas is always my example of I had a save right at an airfield that months after I'd beaten the game, I'd come home, turn it on after class, take the plane up, jump out, land, and then just fuck around. Just fuck off for 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Like blowing up cars with rocket launchers, doing cheats, getting a jetpack. You know what I mean? There's so much shit.
It was a special game, man.
Yeah.
They're all special in their own way.
They are, Colin.
Like you.
Thank you.
You're very special.
Colin, you're very special. Give me a handshake there, buddy.
Okay.
I love you a lot.
All right, I love you too.
Colin,
Yes.
it's time for reader mail.
Maelstrom.
Mail call.
Mailarchy.
Mail pattern baldness.
That's it. I don't want to do anymore.
Carl, the mailman Malone. Of course, it's brought to you by Squarespace. We built kindafunny.com with it, so please go there. Use the offer code kindafunny to get 10% off your Squarespace subscription. You ever get worried about ghosts sneaking up on you?
Yeah, sometimes.
No, you don't. You've never worried about a ghost a day in your life.
Really? You think so?
You?
Yeah.
You've never worried about a ghost. You're Colin Moriarty.
That's true. I ain't afraid of no ghost. So.
Nice.
Give
Give me a pound on that one.
I will. I'll give you an even better pound later.
Our first question comes from Dan K. Tarin over at kindafunny.com/PSQ. He wanted to be part of the show. You want to be part of the show? Go there and leave a whole bunch of questions before Friday. You got a whole bunch of shows slotted. Hey, Greg and Colin. Longtime listener, first-time writer. This question is mainly aimed at Colin for factors he's always been worried about in the division. After playing the alpha and realizing how they've worked out the multiplayer/single-player aspect, I wonder if he's more excited for it now, as there is an area where everyone is placed, but then when you head into New York landscape, you enter your own server and can play by yourself or with party members if chosen. This made me happy and my friends at work happy. So we don't always get the same times to play together. So to be able to, we went on, but okay. How are you feeling about the division? Are you feeling confident?
I'm excited. I've always been confident in it. They've said that, and they keep reiterating it. So.
But now you're actually getting people who are out there playing it, who, by the way, Dan, you did sign an NDA. Yeah, I thought that was more of a thing. You actually got into some of the nuts and bolts there. You shouldn't be saying that stuff. You're getting in trouble. But now you have people out there who are saying it actually is happening. I was worried about it being buzz speak. You know what I mean? I've been infamous on these podcasts here at kindafunny.com of like when we talk about it, I kind of get that grin. I'm like, I'm so excited for you to be disappointed in it. Because
why? Why do you want me to die? Like,
because I'm getting sick of calling it. I'm getting sick of calling it, Colin. Like now I'm getting excited that maybe this is the one that bucks the trend. But I've seen you all this year try to get into games you're excited about, and then it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's
just rough for you out there.
Maybe I just hate video games now. I don't know.
I think that might be the thing. The best part about it is yin and yang. We always talk about it. Sweet and sour. We fill each other's gaps. We fill each other's holes all night long.
Too sweet to be sour.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. Too sweet to be sour. And I still love games, and I go out and play a lot of these games, and I do all this stuff. And you still love numbers and the industry and the business side of it. So even when you're not playing stuff, I got plenty. I can talk about Taco Master for another 45 minutes if you want me to.
Smash hit Vita game.
Do you want to? I mean, I just added red salsa. I can't believe it. I thought I had it all done.
I love red salsa. We're talking about like the liquid salsa, not pico de gallo.
No. This is like straight up. Yeah, I hate that shit. Like even underdogs. I like it fine, but it's like, hey, can I get chips and guac and in salsa and then it's just pico. It's like, well, can I get a real salsa? Can I get a blended tomato? Right. Out there, I got the not fresca, but the what is it? Francesca, whatever. You've seen it in there.
I know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna go get it.
You're just gonna leave.
Talk about Taco Master.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just gonna sit here. Look at the ceiling. The ceiling is white. We have sound padding. Flattens the sound. Heartthrobs over in the closet.
Frontiera salsa. Now this is a good salsa right there. Go ahead and give it a smell. It's oldish. Not that it's bad. That's always a winner. When does salsa go bad? You know I hate that. But it's Chipotle. But you see what I'm talking about? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm a strong man. I need a strong salsa. It's blended up.
July 31st, July 17.
Yeah, but that's when you don't open it. Once you open a can, all bets are off on how long something's going to be good for. You know what I mean?
Tomatillos, tomatoes, filtered water, onions, garlic, chipotle chilies, salt, evaporated cane juice, spices. All natural, no preservatives. Bought the San Andronicos?
Of course, yeah.
What did it cost? Like $8?
No, it wasn't that bad. You got to look for the deals in Andronicos. But no, these people, and they got a whole bunch of different kinds.
When you look for the deals in Andronicos, you really got to look for them.
Yeah, like that wine I brought home yesterday. I was excited to find a red
wine. I can believe they
red wine to cook for. It was like
the owner
$10
of Andronicos probably wiping his ass with that wine.
Yeah, he doesn't
which is
care
weird
about
because
it.
it's a liquid.
But no, Frontiera doing good salsas. And that's what I'm talking about. I want it nice and I want it like pureed. I don't like the big chunks in it. You know what I mean? Like, here's what we'll say. we can sit
Say
here.
your piece.
We can sit here all day
Say your piece, Greg.
and shit on chilies, right? Chili salsa though, amazing, good stuff, good blend, perfect. You ever eat the chili salsa, chips and salsa?
Yeah,
You like it?
it's fine.
Yeah, it's real good.
I still say the red sauce at Underdogs is
Which is similar to this, not
similar.
in texture. In texture,
way better than whatever this is.
Sure.
I'm just going to call it.
the thing about
Remember
the
when they tried to sell us that shit a few times? I'm like, guys, just give it to me. You know
well,
what I
we
mean?
did. We remember we brought home 2 bottles that one time. That we thought we were buying like bottles, but they were just squeeze bottles they just gave us from the store. I'm like, that's really weird, but whatever. The thing about it is like that's great for putting on tacos as a topping, but not for. I don't like dipping my chips in it.
Oh, really? I like it.
Once in a while.
Well, because when we get the nachos at Underdogs and we run out of toppings,
Yeah.
I just start squeezing that
Yeah.
shit over.
Yeah.
I'll squeeze that shit right in my mouth. Like,
Sure.
You know, like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like,
But I just
which
wish
is not.
them-
It's not a weird thing. That's not a weird. That doesn't look weird,
no,
right?
people do that all the time. Don't worry, that's the kind of thing. That's how you got. How else are you gonna get
Sometimes
salsa?
you can have both bottles and you can go like this.
How are you gonna get salsa out of the bottle if you're not doing something like that? Please don't be stupid. Now, Colin, I have.
We're really touched.
Yeah, and you guys love it, so thank you very much for your support on kindoffunny.com and of course patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. I have a bevy of PlayStation VR questions. Would you like to start into that, or do you want some more appetizers?
I'll leave it up to you.
Shit, I hate it when you do leave it up to me. Apology writes in to kindoffunny.com/PSQ just like you can and says, glad you had so much fun at PSX. Maybe next year's will be on the East Coast, so I'll be more able to go to, and then parentheses, or even on the island. Colin can only dream. Winky emoticon. At the PSX keynote, given we saw a few more games for PlayStation VR, but still no release date or SKU/pricing details. Do you think we'll finally get that information at CES next year in early January? Parentheses, the Sony CES 2016 invite has a PlayStation VR image on it. Also, given we did not see Ben's new game at PSX, or one from Sucker Punch for that matter, do you think either developer might be making a PlayStation VR launch title, quote unquote, the killer app, that we will first see only shortly before the PSVR hardware launch? XOXO, apology. I think in terms of SKU, here it is, packaging, price, I think that's GDC. I think that consumer CES will be a big thing of here's more games, here's the unit, get it on the mainstream press guy's face or whatever. But I think just like they did with PlayStation Move, they come to GDC and they go, all right, now let's get you the hard details. Here's what it is. Here's what the launch lineup looks like, and then go from there.
I think that
We're running out of time.
we are running out of time. There's not more opportunities. I think I said this on Colin and Greg. My theory is that they will do a standalone event in Tokyo, or maybe here, that will explain everything. That press will be invited to it. It'll be a one-off kind of thing, and they make a huge splash with it. I don't know if it's a great idea for them to go to CES. They'll be there, but I don't know if it's a good idea for them to like make announcements there
They get drowned
amongst
out
a
there.
bunch of other announcements.
People don't want to know about
GDC
TVs.
GDC is not conducive to anything like that. That's not what GDC is. So it's like
Sure,
so
but it's
I
never stopped anybody, man. It's never stopped
it
anybody.
hasn't, but it's just like that's not. If they want this thing to succeed, they better make noise. And I don't know that you do that amongst other announcements, amongst other distractions. I think it would make sense for them to be like everyone
Another
come to
February
Tokyo
event,
and or do New York City or do
I
wherever.
see. I think they do it in New York at that PlayStation Arena they just got.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And just be like, we're gonna do it here, and this is the time is now, the date, the price, the launch lineup. Do I think either of those studios are working on VR games? No, absolutely not.
Definitely
I
not
think,
launch games.
I think that maybe their games will work with VR, but I don't think none of the big first parties are making a VR game. That would be a waste of resources.
Briggy wrote in to kindoffunny.com/PSQ and says, after watching PSX this year, the lack of Ben's new game made me wonder what if their new game is being made for VR? What Sony first-party developer is working on VR? I believe that this Ben prediction can actually be possible. As the last few Ben games have been on Vita, it would make sense for them to make a game on another device such as VR rather than the PS4. This brings me to my question. Which first-party... You don't think any first-party developer is working on it?
Well, they are. Gorilla Cambridge is making rigs.
Mhm.
Polyphony will obviously make Gran Turismo compatible with
Compatible. Does that count? Do we count that?
VR. Maybe not. Sony Studio Japan obviously is doing stuff. I think everyone's probably got kits, and I think that they're probably going to make their games function if they can. Sony's whole mantra, even with Move, was like, we're not going to walk into Naughty Dog and be like, here's Move and make it work in your games. Like, they don't want to, so they don't. So I don't think that they're going to necessarily go around to any of the studios and be like, you have to work on something. Sony London's obviously working on something. Gorilla Cambridge again working on something. Polyphony working on something. But
in terms of kit and integration, you bet your bottom fucking dollar Media Molecule's doing something with it.
Oh yeah,
those crazy motherfuckers, they've got to have something going on.
Yeah,
there,
but I think
whether it's dreams or not.
But I do agree. I do believe when Shuei and Scott Rhodey and those guys say like the desire to work with the hardware has to come from within the studio, not something that's directed at us. Otherwise, they're not going to make the game they want to make. I really don't think Ben's game has anything to do with VR at all. Maybe it'll work on PSVR, but I would not hold your breath if you think that they're working on a VR exclusive.
DJ K says, "Hello, Greg and Colin.
Hello.
Thanks for all the content you create.
You're welcome."
And to set the record straight, he actually said, "Hello, Colin and Greg." I don't want to misquote him. My question is regarding the disappointment about the lack of a Sony Bend announcement at PSX. Do you think that they were planning to show something that was quite a ways off still and saw the success of the Bethesda 6-month announcement to release model and decided to hold off? I feel like the success of this model has created a shift in the way games will be announced going forward, and we're just in the dead space between the old method and new method. Thoughts? Thanks again. I really enjoy your shows. Daniel/DJK.
Yeah, I think that Bethesda did show something to everyone that you could do that. You can have a wildly successful game. It could work out very well for you. Makes PR much easier. The media beats very much easier. You don't have to stretch it out. We have PR friends that work for all sorts of different publishers, and they sometimes struggle. Like, we have candid conversations with some of these people about like, well, they have to figure things out on their end as far as like, well, when do we show games and how do we manage our portfolio? And, and what happens when you run out of things to talk about? And some of these games have been out for 3.5 years. It's like, what the fuck are you supposed to say at that point? So it is smart. My feeling is still that I don't think it was pulled the day of or the day before, whatever, but I feel like there was something that was supposed to be at PSX that wasn't. And the reason why that would be, if it's true, who knows? I think it's just weird that they ended on that game. I think it's weird how abruptly the conference ended. It seemed to have ended early.
Really flat ending.
Yeah, like a terrible ending. Terrible. Just terrible. So, I think that they're showing. I think we're seeing it most with EA with Andromeda, and I think like some others, like Andromeda probably won't even. I don't think we'll see it again until E3.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, I think that Bethesda showed something. It's very logical. It makes it easier for everyone. It makes it easier for the developer to make sure they're ready. Makes it easier for PR and marketing to be like, we're ready. These are the 3 beats we have to even hit before the game comes out. We don't have to worry about these 18-month fucking nonsensical cycles that go on. These preview beats, writing previews and reading previews sucks. They're useless. I think that there might be something to that, and I'm interested to see how that all kind of shakes out. It's going to make for more boring shows immediately because they have to let everything catch up.
Sure.
But once we're like a year, 18 months removed from now, then.
But if that's the case, then so when do you think Sony Ben's game is targeting? Is it going to be a fall game? You think it's another fall game to go
I thought
up
it would
against
have been. I thought it would have been summer, but maybe it is a fall game. I don't know that they need it in the fall. Maybe it's not even this year. Eric Jensen not doing fucking jack shit up there.
He's out there taking today on Twitter
pictures.
fucking beautiful pictures of snow. Make your goddamn game, Eric. Show it at a thing. Go over wig John Garvin up.
John Garvin hasn't been out of the house in 7 years.
Back to the PlayStation VR stuff. Now that we finally answered all the Sony Ben questions, Mean Spartan wrote into kindafunny.com/PSQ just like you can and says, "Hey guys, can we trust Sony to be in this for the long haul and support PlayStation VR without giving up after what may very well be low sales in the first year or two? I think VR in general will take time to achieve significant market penetration, especially considering what will likely be a high initial price tag. And I must say, I don't know if I can trust Sony to not prematurely abandon VR. Vita, Move, and that weird PlayStation 3D TV were all abandoned pretty quick, and I really hope it doesn't go the same way for VR. I'd love to be an early adopter, but with all that, but that will only happen if I feel Sony is very confident in their technology." I think Sony's behind it. You know what I mean? I totally understand what Mean Spartan's saying. You know what I mean? It's somebody who, when they did PlayStation Move, I was like, oh God, no. And then came out and that was it. You know what I mean? Like after that first launch, there was no big push for Move. They read it all wrong. They read the tea leaves all wrong on it and got out. Vita is a similar situation maybe to like this, you know what I mean? Of like comes out, underperforms, and then we see first party AAA stuff dry up. You know what I mean? Like that's done. So the people who would watch this show or listen to this show, still very into Vita, playing Taco Master like there's no fucking tomorrow, enjoying it for, this is a new way to get indies, this, that, or the other. But it's not what was promised. You know what I mean? Early on. The 3D TV, that was dumb. 3D was dumb. Everybody knew that was dumb. If you fell for 3D, that's your own fault. You suck.
Yeah, I think I've said it before. I'm not going to reiterate too much, but I think that Sony's going to be very thankful that they got in on this early. I think that they're going to be behind it. I think VR isn't a gimmick. It's a new way to play. It really is. Yep. It really is. It's something that people are going to embrace. It will take time. I think it will take a lot of time, but it doesn't seem like Sony's super bullish about the sales figures. The ones I've been heard hurling around, 1 to 1.5 million in its first year, something like that, 2 million maybe. It's not a lot of units. They sold that many on fucking Black Friday in the United States as far as PS4. So they're not like super bullish about it. I think what's going to come down to is pricing. I think it's going to come down to games. But I think the technology is there. I think this is a very embryonic sort of thing. I think that they have to give it time.
What's interesting, they have to
mature it.
There's so much excitement about this. And don't get me wrong, there was excitement about Vita, maybe a little excitement about Move. But I mean, this is the first time where I think people are really excited just to have this device and put it on and see something new. You know what I mean? And that is the interesting thing that I think in all of our conversations about this, I think I've undersold that. I didn't believe it until really talking to kids at PSX. You know, I went and played rigs with a bunch of them, did some stupid shoutcast video, but then at the end I was like walking around interviewing people in line, right? Not that the video was stupid, but I'm acting stupid in the video. And these people were waiting in line and then had been waiting for like 45 minutes to play this. I'm like, why? And they're like, well, I'm so excited about this new way to play. You know what I mean? Not that I'm excited about how pretty this game is or this, that, or the other, playing the sports ball game or whatever you want to say. They're excited about trying this new tech. You know what I mean? And it is going to be one of those things that like they're theoretically, right? I mean, we don't know release dates, so it's different. They're going to beat Oculus to the market. It's going to be the first real, and I know there's the HTC thing or whatever.
I don't know if they are going to beat Oculus to the market.
You don't think so?
No.
Does Oculus have a date?
I thought
yet?
it was Oculus was like Q1.
I thought that Palmer Luckey recently was like, I don't know, we're trying to do other stuff. I don't know. Maybe wrong.
Concurrent then. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a race, but they have the chance to beat them out there, or at least be part of that wave.
I don't think it matters.
You don't think it matters?
No.
But I think it matters to the PlayStation fan base. You know what I mean? That they can get that there. A lot of our audience is huge gamers, right? So plenty of them could just be like, maybe I go that way, maybe I go this way. But I think that if PlayStation believes in it and they're giving you experiences and they're there and it's cheaper and it works with your PlayStation 4, which you already bought, you know what I mean? Like, there's something there. People are super excited about this technology, and I don't think they're excited about it just on a platform by platform. It isn't, you know what I mean? I don't think they look at Oculus and PlayStation VR similar to how we look at PlayStation Xbox. You know what I mean? There's a rivalry, sure. But I think right now everybody just wants to get this fucking device and try it on and see what it's about.
Yeah, I believe in VR. It's not even about PlayStation. I believe in Oculus too. Like I believe in whatever other devices people are doing. This is going to revolutionize many things. Not only gaming. I think gaming is the entry drug. I think it's the gateway drug. I think that once you get through gaming and you open it up to grandma and grandpa and you open it up to mom and dad and you open it up to little sis and all these people that like don't care about games or whatever. Little sis.
Okay.
Little sis. The possibilities of VR are exciting and they're legitimate. And I was telling my mom about it. She was like, asked me to explain it to her. And I was telling her, I'm like, VR is one of those things. I was explaining Eve Valkyrie to her, but I'm like, don't think about it like that because you don't play games. I'm like, think about if there's some sort of camera, 360 degree camera in your living room.
Oh, like that thing she was always holding up in his photos.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
I'm like, imagine if my virtual reality headset was attached to it. And imagine if you and your husband were sitting on the couch and you were watching the Jets game and I could just watch it with you and I can look over and you're just sitting there on the couch or whatever. And I'm like, there's immense possibilities with Skype and with all of these kinds of things to make it so that you are with people. Yep. With your people.
And there's visiting worlds. We always talk about
virtual tourism and all that.
Exactly. Let somebody in a low income area go through a school project or whatever, traveling VR circus or whatever, go visit the Louvre or whatever, somewhere they never get the chance to go.
I think you mean the Louvre.
No, I don't mean the Louvre.
I don't think you know.
Certainly,
I don't think you know French, Greg.
Kylo Loren. I'm pretty sure I know French pretty well.
I think that. Yeah, Sony's bet on motion was stupid. Sony's bet on 3D was stupid. Sony's bet on this isn't. And some might say, well, a broken clock's right twice a day. I don't believe that. I think that they know that this is going to be big. This can be a big moneymaker for them outside of PlayStation in the long term. The sooner they get in on this technology, which they got in very quickly, the more better off they're going to be. And I'm sure it wasn't an easy sell for a company that was hemorrhaging money at the time. We have to remember that Sony's stabilized now, but they're much smaller than they used to be in terms of their market valuation, but they're stable. But when this was going through the fucking pipeline, they were hemorrhaging.
Yeah.
And they still got it through. So I think that people there from Kazurai all the way down understand that this is a smart bet. This is a smart bet. And they're going to be happy they made this bet. People that don't believe in VR are going to be left behind. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to lose traditional ways of playing games, nor am I saying that I don't want to play games in a traditional way. I really do believe in 50 years, we're going to be holding controllers, looking at television sets or monitors of some sort of display. But I do think that if you don't believe in VR, put a fucking headset on, play Valkyrie, play Rigs like you've played it, play whatever, and tell
Rez.
me, play Rez and tell me that it's not fucking mind-blowing. Because it is. It just, I mean, that's just the fact it is.
Every time I use it, I'm more impressed. That's the long and short of it. You know what I mean? I was down on Move from the beginning, down on 3D from the beginning. Even the Vita, I was like, oh, this touchpad shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to play games that way. Now,
don't disparage it.
Well, now here I am, of course, playing Game of the Year Taco Master. So, I mean, like, I'm swiping left and right and enjoying myself. But, like, this is the one where it's like, this is doing the opposite effect, I think, than all those things. Like, the more I used Move, the more I fucking hated Move, right? And the more I try to use the back touch, the more I hate the back touch. Whereas, like, this, I want a unit in the house. You know, now I'm ready to have something here to fuck around with it.
I'm excited too. I can't wait. I mean, and this is going to be a thing that I'm going to get immediately. Like, I'm going to pre-order it. I'm going to have it. I can't wait. Like, I really feel like, I don't feel like I'm falling out of love with games by any stretch of the imagination, but I think I'm becoming more picky and my time is spent in different ways now. So I don't play as much as I used to. And I really feel like I need something new. And I really feel like PSVR can be that thing. You made a really great point that I think is quite prescient, which is you can really enter the world.
Yeah, this is
put on your headset and your headphones,
right,
and there's nothing.
This is what we're talking about on the Gamescast that'll go up soon. Is the fact that, like, yeah, for me, there's a part of it of like playing Rez. You put it on, put on the headphones, and I was in a room full of people, including Christine and Mizuguchi, two people I love, and I'm sitting there and they're gone. Everything is gone, and all it is the game. And now, granted, all it is in the game in 360, and I can look behind me and shoot and do all this different shit. Blah 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 blah. You and I were talking on the Gamescast about it, and the fact that, like, you're still with me that my prediction from E3 with the wraparound thing, right, is eventually they're going to say,
I still think you're right.
Every PlayStation game or most PlayStation,
first party, whatever it is
going to work with PlayStation VR. And what I mean to that is, I don't mean every game's going to be a VR game. I don't mean every game you're going to be able to put on PlayStation VR and look 360 degrees around the world. But I wouldn't put it past that it is like your iPhone when you move it and you get a little bit more of the screen. So if you can play on the TV and be totally fine, or you can put on PSVR and it fills up this way and that way. And when that happens and you put on headphones, imagine playing The Last of Us without the possible distraction of a car honking outside, your phone going off and looking down. Oh, I mean, like, you take your phone out of your pocket and you put it over there on silent and you put this on. You are in that world. You are taking an experience that I honestly believe is reserved for movie theaters and putting into your life, and not in even to a different way of that. Where in movie theaters, I silence my phone, I go in and I can't look at anything, right? So I'm focused on the film. With the exception of when the kid behind me is crying, when the guy in front of me is looking at his phone, all these little annoyances pop up to become part of that. Whereas now, literally, yeah, you're in your room, you're on your couch, you throw a blanket over you, and you put this thing on, and like you are in The Last of Us, and not in it in the VR sense of like move your head and the camera moves. I mean, just like that's all you have to focus on. And as powerful as Last of Us was, as powerful as Gone Home was, as powerful as a number of different games we can rattle off were, imagine them where you totally do lose yourself. There is no more you. There is no more seeing your hands in front of you or seeing Portillo walk in, or you know what I mean? Like, and granted, some of these things you could sit down and be like, that sounds really fucked up. How will I know when the house is on fire? What if my mom called and something bad had happened? You know, what if Portillo needed to go outside and has an accident? Like, there's pros and cons to this, but the excitement of just having and like that muffled silence that headphones and the great experience give you. And that's the other thing, I guess. Like, we all know it from listening to music you love or watching a movie on an iPad with headphones, and just that's all there is in your world. But imagine that now for your eyes. You know what I mean? That just that like there it is, and you're focused and you're locked in, and now
it's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be awesome,
dude.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Now it's not as simple as saying like, all right, Gorilla, make Horizon work on PSVR.
Yeah.
The game has to be rendered multiple times. It can hitch frame rates. It's going to be really challenging. But I do think that it's not a safe bet, maybe a safe bet to say like The Last Guardian, Horizon, Uncharted 4, like, you know, with a patch maybe in the future, because I'm sure that they're worried about other things. These will work with PSVR. It makes, maybe there'll be some frame rate problems or all these kinds of things, but they have to do something bold like that to make it to make this whole thing amenable to normal PlayStation gamers that don't believe. I am telling you, you will maybe you won't. I don't want to be too bold, but I can't imagine real hardcore gamers not believing the second they have a good experience on that thing.
Yeah.
I just don't believe it. You know, like I don't know how you're still playing with a controller. It's still a game. It's still the way you play a game, but you can just be in it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we've always wanted? We've always wanted immersion. Back in the day on NES, we had Dragon Warrior, and it came with beautiful box art, but it was this 8-bit nonsense-looking role-playing game. We had to make up stories ourselves, so they came with these huge instruction manuals and these big maps with these ornate art all over it and where you're going in these locations. And then Super Nintendo made it a little bit better, and then N64 kind of made these worlds polygonal and palatable to walk around in, and then PS2 and PS3 made these worlds more beautiful, and now suddenly we're in a place where we can be in it. This is where we've been. This is the whole trajectory of gaming since the beginning.
Yeah,
since Pong. Pong was Tennis for Two in 1959 at Brookhaven National Labs on the island. It was supposed to replicate on an oscilloscope a game of tennis, and we so expanded that out.
Yeah,
over and over again to get to this point. It's exciting. This is the direction we're supposed to go in. This isn't Waggle. This isn't fucking touch screens and all this kind of shit. This is the way we play. And so I don't see virtually any negative as long as the games work and as long as the games are intuitive. And I don't think that they have to really reinvent the wheel. For every Eve Valkyrie that is made for VR, for every No Man's Sky, which I think is clearly going to be a VR game.
My prediction, don't take that.
Which I predicted some time
ago.
You
didn't do it!
That there can be 25 normal games that can play on a TV screen that you can just put a VR on if you want. And that's exciting. It's an option. So I think Sony's going to be really excited about PlayStation VR. I'm interested to see how they market it. I'm interested to see the commercials, and I'm interested to see the pricing.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of the things
going to be fascinating.
Now, this is one of the things we were talking about. PSVR is not cheap. It's not. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't look cheap, and it's not cheap. And I still think it's going to cost $300. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. And I don't know how palatable that's going to be to normal people. This is going to be one of those things. It's like when iPhone 1 came out. Most people didn't get an iPhone until like iPhone 2, iPhone 3, right? You let kind of people play with it. The price becomes a little cheaper. It becomes a little cheaper to manufacture. It's fixed a little bit. But the early adopters like you and me on PSVR are going to be the ones that get in at the beginning and maybe understand or maybe don't. I think they can get the price as low as $199. I don't think it can be any cheaper than that. I don't see any fathomable way that can be any cheaper than that.
Yeah.
If they get it cheaper than that, it's pretty remarkable. I still think it's going to cost $300. So maybe Shuhei's laughing, listening to this right now as he laughs at almost everything I say. But that to me is like, that's in my mind. I'm like, this isn't a fucking shit piece of tech. It feels right. God, I haven't even worn one since they named it PSVR.
Yeah.
But it's like, we have to be also willing to pay for the experience.
Sure.
I guess is what I'm saying too.
No. Yeah.
It's not going to be something that's free. Now I think Oculus.
But that's why it doesn't matter. I mean, that's the whole thing is like, what PSX
Greg,
restated to me.
Just to interrupt, I'm sorry. Doesn't this cost like $60 or something like that?
Yeah.
This.
Well, yeah.
So
64, I think maybe. I don't know.
So it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, I
anyway,
hear you. But that's the whole thing is like, I think that's why what they're doing works in a way that I worry about Oculus in a way. Because Oculus is shooting towards, hey, PC gamer who does this. And like the PC gamer is super hardcore, obviously, and invest in systems and do all that. But there isn't a PSX for them to go to try all these things. There isn't this thing. When you talk to PlayStation fans, there's this core audience that you are a part of by watching or listening to this show. You know what I mean? That's like, yep, we'll support the Vita. Yep, we'll support this thing. And like, that's the whole thing is what's fascinating to watch this do is like, and I've been saying it for months now, is that I feel it's going to go the same way that we did, where all of us hardcore motherfuckers are going to buy this thing, bring it home, show it to somebody else who would never have thought to doesn't even know that this is even happening on the horizon, but they put it on and they get to play this or watch a movie or do whatever. And that's when it starts happening where people go and buy this or get excited for VR, at least to watch what happens with version 2, version 3, where it all goes.
It's exciting. These are exciting times.
I know. And that's what's so crazy about 2016 is like, we sat there, did our predictions episode and we're talking about what's coming. And like, this is like the biggest thing. Sure, Uncharted is going to be great. Yeah, I can't fucking wait for Mass Effect. Can't wait for Quantum Break. But I really can't wait to have it like sitting here, to have the fucking headset sitting right here and us to be able to talk. We just played X games on it. You know what I mean? Here's what we think and this and that and the other. And like, product launches are always fun.
Yeah, they are. They're always
launch
interesting.
For us is going to be great.
Vita launched not too long ago in Japan for us here, and we had the Japanese ones in on Facebook. They do those memories things now.
Yeah.
And it was me, you, Clements sitting around Apache's Pizza, cranking out all of our reviews for launch.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Which was so exciting. But think about the paradigm shifts. We talked about this before, right? If you can make like picture like a pie chart.
I'm picturing
and like
it.
picture the slices of the pie chart being like the different paradigm shifts in hardware and technology and games, right? So obviously the microprocessor was a huge one.
Yeah.
that really made like small computers possible. But then you get to like real gaming and you get to like the joystick and then you get to the D-pad and more than 16 colors and then you get 32 colors and then 64 and then 128 and 256. You get to rumble. You get to dual analog sticks, triggers, right? All these things come and start to really like roll the ball down and be like, okay, the experience is becoming these things. But when you look at the pie chart, these are all small slices. VR is a massive step forward in how we play. It's bigger in many ways than all of that, because it is perspective changing. It's not control changing. It is too, because you move around and look around.
Sure.
But it's perspective changing. I know that we seem a little bit evangelical about VR, but it's just because I don't care if you buy PSVR or not. I don't care if you buy Oculus over PSVR. It doesn't matter to me. But don't just write it off. I think that people are really right. Some people are writing this off at their own peril.
But it's one of those that the proof will be in the pudding. You know what I mean? This could easily be this episode 14 of PS I Love You XOXO could be looked back at the same way we look back at when you wrote about the PlayStation Vita is destined to be a success, right? Like it could easily be bungled. You know what I mean? The launch lineup could be garbage. Nobody could support it. This, that, and the. I mean, there could be so many problems. You know what I mean? Do I think that's going to happen? No, but it's possible. And like back to the point of earlier, like there's been a laundry list of things that like Sony didn't support the way they needed to support for it to be great. I don't think that's happening here. When Shuhei, and I shouldn't just put it all on him. PlayStation as a brand, Sony as a company, never sat there with PlayStation Move, PlayStation Vita, and said, this is to us what 25 years ago or 20 years ago the PS1 was. Shuhei said that to us, right? That they're looking at this launch as launching a PlayStation again, and that in 20 years we're going to look back and be like, wow, and like to me that means something. You know what I mean? They blow smoke in the marketing all the time, but it never was like the PlayStation Vita is going to be this fucking thing forever. You know what I mean? No, like the Move is going to be something forever.
Yeah, you're right. I miscalculated on Vita hard.
You and I both did. I'm not putting that on you.
But it's a handheld.
Yeah.
We've seen these before.
Sure.
Since Game & Watch, and Game Boy, and Game Gear, and Nomad, and Lynx. These are not new, right? Like, we've seen VR, I guess. We got Virtual Boy, and we had like all. I mean, in reality, the people that know tech, VR has been around since the 80s.
Yeah.
But it's never come to fruition. It's never come to market. The one time it did come to market really in a massive way, which was with Virtual Boy, it fucking flopped.
Was garbage.
And that was awful. It was awful.
Yeah. This is
but this is so I'm not saying so what I'm saying is you're right. Things come and go and technologies change, but this is a shift.
This is on the level of to your point, right? This is on the level of seeing the first home consoles come out when you could only have that experience in the arcade. You're finally bringing something to the consumers to their home, doing something different. Yeah. And that's what's so fascinating.
And so we'll see. You're right. It could be fucked up more ways than it can't be fucked up.
Sure.
That's the scary thing about humans launching and doing anything is that Sony can
There's a million ways you could go wrong.
And
one
Facebook
way
can bungle it too.
Yeah.
With Oculus, but even if they do, the technology's here.
Yeah.
It works. And that's the exciting thing. It's not like the proof is in the games. The what makes you stay is in the games. The proof is in that the thing just fucking works.
Mm-hmm.
After
all that blowjobbing we just gave PlayStation VR, Zara N writes in to kindoffunny.com/PSQ just like you can and says, "Dear PS, I love you. There have never been a point when you defended Sony for their missteps, but at PlayStation's darkest moments, you actually succeed to describe why PlayStation still mattered. You did this when Sony needed you most, and you became the voice of PlayStation. But something has changed. It feels like this is the first year when your overall opinion seems to be negative. You seem to be a lot harder to impress, Colin and Greg. There are around 20 plus games supposed to come out in 2016 from Sony Computer Entertainment. Add exclusives from third-party developers, software emulation on PlayStation 1 and 2 games, PlayStation 3 remakes, VR launch in games, PS Now and PS View, smaller indie games. PlayStation's foothold has probably never been stronger. Remember why we are doing this. It's supposed to be fun. It felt like you were building up your own expectations for PSX this year, which was some kind of best case scenario. And when that did not happen or get surpassed, you were disappointed. Best regards, Zara N. XOXO.
I don't necessarily disagree
I don't either.
with the last part.
Yeah, the last part of it. Start there, because I talked about this on the PSX predictions.
Yeah, you said it to me. I mean, I think you're right.
I think our expectations got wildly out of hand, and that's why I still stand by the PSX was solid. Fine. You know what I mean?
The event was great.
I'm talking about the conference itself. The conference itself. You look at all the announcements and everything happened, solid. You know what I mean? fine. It didn't blow our doors off because we were out there. Sony Ben's gonna happen. That. You know what I mean? Like we did that to ourselves and to you.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
when we fuck ourselves,
trust
we
me
fuck
or
you.
don't. I mean, I don't know, but we can't always be right. I'm right almost all the time.
You are.
And by that, I mean, I'm like right
Yeah,
sometimes.
I know.
Uh,
This is why we're just industry pundits.
But I don't know if I'm harder to please. I mean, I defend Sony when they absurdly defended it. For instance,
Sure.
PS2 classics and the way people were responding to the PS2 emulation on PS4. I think everyone sounds like a bunch of fucking babies, and I said that, babies. Like that, I mean, I use that word, and I'll use it again. So like, I definitely have come down on the side of Sony before, but we have to call it the way we see it. The reason that we are so trusted in PlayStation. And maybe are the voices of PlayStation in many ways and to the hardcore community more than anyone else, I would say, you know, it's a reasonable expectation outside of Sony.
Sure.
Is because we don't fillet them and we never have. And
We
so,
fillet them on the things they deserve to be filleted for, and then we
Sure.
slap the dicks down when they're bad.
Sure, and I want their erect dick in my face all the time. You understand what I'm saying?
Jack Trenton!
Oh, hey, Colin. But doesn't sound anything like Jack Trenton. Our impression. It's all right. It's
not
hey,
terrible.
Colin, you're a great interviewer.
It's a good caricature.
You're a great interviewer,
Good
Colin.
caricature of Jack Trenton.
But you know, it sounds like this person's listened to us for a long time. But I don't know how you couldn't have listened to us back on Podcast Beyond in 2008, 2009. I mean, we fucking castigated this company,
Right.
and during the outage, there was no one harder on them during the outage than us, and I would say even me specifically. So. We always call them for their bullshit, but that you have to understand. This is one of the things that a lot of people were reflecting on, especially because we haven't even said it. We have a series of, we said it last episode, but a series of interviews that have gone up with Shuhei and Scott Rohde and our friends there, Christian Phillips,
Yeah.
Shannon Studstill, Jaffe.
Jaffe and Afune, Shannon are rounding out the week, by the way.
So, you know, Christian,
over.
so
He's already gone live.
it's like we have the trust and respect of those people.
Yeah.
And they know exactly what we say. When I sit down with Shannon Studstill, a very smart woman who knows what the fuck's going on, she knows I don't like God of War, but she invites me to go to Sony Santa Monica.
Sure.
You know what I mean? When I sit down with Christian Phillips, he knows that I don't like MOBAs and I don't believe in free to play, but we talk about it and he respects me, you know? And I respect the shit out of him too, by the way. When we sit down with Scott Rohde and Shuhei, who are longtime listeners of this show and listen to every episode, they know exactly what we say, but they sit on a couch next to us and do our panel with us.
Yeah.
They respect us because we're honest. You know, I think that they would be a little concerned if we were either too negative or too, you know, filleting.
Yeah.
And so I think that we call it the way we see it, and I think everyone knows that.
And that's the thing about it, you know, if we're harder to impress lately, he's talking just about PlayStation experience there, and I think that's where he's getting caught up in it. You know, it's to the point
But
of
he said lately. I feel like he's talking about this year.
well,
maybe
lately,
since the show
I
started.
think lately would be in the realm of the last few weeks leading into PSX, where we're talking about Sony Ben's a slam dunk and this, that, and the other. You know
It
what I
should
mean?
have been. We all know that it should have been.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Eric Jensen doesn't. He's too busy taking
Taking
snowflake
fucking
photos.
Instagram photos.
You know what? If I see you tweet another photo, Eric Jensen.
Eric Jensen, if I see you on Twitter at all. No family time, no Twitter. You stay at that. You and John Garvin.
Wow.
You
Just
know
stay
what
in the
that's
office.
for.
All right, cool. We should send him a care package. Just don't leave till the game's done.
That moment is come and gone.
Oh wow, now we're mad. Now we're giving him no more carrot, just
Jensen.
the rod. Okay, great. I see. No, that's the way. I mean, you nail it. I think we're a flag in the wind, blowing whichever way the wind's going. You know what I mean? And so like that's the whole thing. We say what we got to say, and yes, you know, sometimes everything's great, and we're talking a lot about how much we love PlayStation VR, and other times we're like, where the hell was this, and why didn't this conference go the way it should have gone? And that seems like a bonehead decision. And then Shuhei comes on and tells us we don't know anything about business, and that's not how it works. And then Dreams. Alex comes through and I get yelled at by Alex. I get yelled at for you because you can't go to a goddamn event.
I have to remain elusive.
You don't really. No.
That's true. I choose to remain elusive. No, I mean, here's the thing, right, Greg?
Yeah.
People after the PSX panel, I got so many tweets from people and messages on whatever, NeoGaf there, everywhere, people being like, wow, I can't believe Colin was so honest in
Which
front
is
of Shuhei
weird.
and
We're always
Gio.
that honest in
And I'm
front of
like,
them.
why would I? I mean, Shuhei Yoshida's our friend.
Yeah.
You know, like when we go to Japan, we go to dinner with Shuhei Yoshida. When he comes here, we see him. Like we make time for him, and he makes time for us when we go to events and all this kind of stuff. We're friends with him.
When I blow up my back,
And-
Gio Corsi comes over and walks on it.
Exactly. He's a fantastic young man, isn't he? But it's one of those things where it's like we're not trying to blow smoke up anyone's asses,
Yeah.
and they know that, and they have honest conversations with us, which is why when Scott Rhodey is busting my balls the entire interview, being like, you don't even know what to ask me. Like, you just because you say, like he said, just because you say something doesn't mean it's true. We have a comfortable relationship with each other. We've built a rapport and a friendship with these people over time. And I think that some people might be like, well, you shouldn't be friends with anyone, over there. And I'm like, that's bullshit. This makes everything comfortable for everyone. And we know exactly where we stand with everybody. And I'm proud of that. We've built a rapport with our audience and with the people over there, and there's a mutual trust that goes on. We know exactly how we feel. We know. I think we read the tea leaves pretty well for the hardcore PlayStation audience. I don't want to say we speak for them because I think that's dramatic, but I think that we speak for definitely a portion of them, and we definitely have their spirit in mind. We maybe represent their spirit in many ways because we want what's best for PlayStation.
Right.
Because what's best for PlayStation is ultimately best for the gamers, but we can't always pretend
that what they're doing is the
never
best thing.
pretend like they're doing the best
Like when
thing.
they're not putting out more Vita games.
Like when they left Vita to fucking die.
I don't think they understand that they have a hit on their hand with Taco Master, and it should be promoted and screamed out from the rooftops. Coconut Dodge is the other game. I can't tell. I haven't looked into it yet to see if they're the guys who made Coconut Dodge or if they're just making reference to Coconut Dodge. But I'll get to the bottom of that probably before this episode's over.
So anyway, does that all that make sense? I think that makes sense to all the audience as well. Like
this audience understands. And then there's one person's just wondering if we're harder to impress. I don't think we're harder to impress. I think we just expected more out of this. Like most people did.
I never want to go, this morning on Colin Greg Live, I told you never go full Rachel Ray, right? I'm not gonna clarify what that means.
No, if you didn't watch it, you don't understand what that means. No big deal.
But you also never want to go full curmudgeon. And I know that I'm known for being a little more negative, a little more curmudgeonly or whatever. I love games and I love playing them and I'm excited about them. But let's be honest about them too. He's saying remember why we do this? It's supposed to be fun. That's what he said. It is supposed to be fun, but it's not always fun.
True.
And that's because we love it. I don't walk in here expecting everything to be fun, everything to be a slam gun. It was what we were talking about Battleborn before. I hope Battleborn murders. I hope it fucking kills. I hope it does great. But my honest perspective on that game is that it's not.
And like you said in there too, like we are friends with Randy Pitchford. Mm-hmm. We enjoy him, and we have a whole bunch of friends over there who work there. I mean, we're not gonna sit here though and be like, no red flags about that game.
They understand. Everyone understands.
All right, so here's what I got for you. Hold on one second.
You lied to me.
There you go. I want a copyright strike. All right, so Coconut Dodge was by Future Lab. Now, was Taco Master by Future Lab?
Yeah, Future Lab, the guys who do Velocity.
Yeah. No, Taco.
There are Coconut Dodge references in Velocity.
There was. I mean, I in Taco Master, it looked like there was a Coconut Dodge reference as well. It's not though. It's by Caxan Games. I'm doing this too. What does that mean though? I don't know what that means. Is that singing the song in your head?
No, you know what this means.
One more time. Do it again. Stop. Go more. Talk more about Taco Master and Coconut Dodge and how that there might be a reference. Let's look again here. I got to know if they're making.
Can we do this another time? It's like an hour 40 into the show.
That's the perfect time to figure out
what time
Coconut
is it? What
Dodge.
Time is it?
What time is it?
Yeah,
5:32.
Oh, okay. All right, we're okay.
Oh, you got to. What time are you leaving today?
I got to go to the airport at like 7.
Okay, hold on. So you got that.
You lied to me. Man, that Mark Morrison song when we came on in the fucking Uber on the way to dinner.
Yeah, that
was a great soundtrack.
I mean, now that I'm looking at it, the Tropical Fury Crab here is not exactly Coconut Dodge, but it could easily be.
I'm going to tell you something right now.
Lay it on
because I have the money to replace it, right? If you talk about this one more time, I'm taking that Vita. I'm going to fucking crack it.
Now, here's all. I want one question. I just want one question, and this does not play into it. Am I allowed to talk about Taco Master? No more times or Coconut Dodge.
If you bring up Taco Master or Coconut Dodge, and I like Future Lab a lot for Coconut Dodge. If you bring up either of those games ever again, I'm gonna break your Vita in half. All right? Don't cry.
I'm gonna be okay.
Don't cry.
And now that's that. Future Lab, yeah. Okay.
All right.
I didn't know. I didn't mention Coconut Dodge or the other thing. I was just pointed out that I had to.
Because what did I say in Japan when I first put my hand on this?
It feels like you could break it in half.
We're going to test that out.
One day I'd like to see you try, you pussy. Ad TN64 says hi.
Hi.
Reader, mail, word of the day, melee. Like melee.
Mm-hmm.
Melee.
How do you feel about people that say melee or melee?
I don't like that at all. Don't do that. ADTN64 says, are indie games losing their steam? Pun may be intended. Back in 2012/2013, indie games were hot. and almost every indie game was getting a lot of coverage. ? I don't understand why that's there. We enjoyed some truly great indie titles this year, and last had some spectacular games come out, like Helldivers, Transistor, Ollie Ollie 2, Rocket League, and many more. Go ahead and get them. Shaking your head.
Rocket League, I guess, is technically an indie game, but
Yeah.
Transistor, I guess, technically an indie game.
Supergiant Games. Helldivers,
Helldivers
is
paid for by
right?
Sony.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not an indie.
And more. Barely one or two of these games really created a buzz, which I don't agree with. Now I know we are getting more indie games than ever before, but has the audience stopped feeling that these games are special, or do you think there are too many to play and appreciate? I really love this show and wish you guys all the best. Keep up the awesome work. The Game Awards speech was the best ever and really touched my heart. P.S. I'll always love you, XOXO. Regards, pronounced Aditya. Aditya is his name. Then, just in case this got read on the show, holy shit, I can't believe it.
I think things have normalized.
What do you mean? Explain.
It's not special to be indie anymore.
Okay.
And I want to quote, I think it's Jonathan Blow, but I'm not positive. I think it's Jonathan Blow that said something like to someone at some point in a Twitter exchange or something. I saw it somewhere where he was like, "You're like, people are like 4 years too late if they're trying to leave AAA to go indie."
Yeah.
Like that's over. That whole like gold rush
Sure.
is over.
For me,
Like if you're not in an established, if you're not a Supergiant, if you're not Jonathan Blow, if you're not whatever, like it's over. Like your chance of success is way lower
right.
than when the Behemoth was doing it. When all these guys were kind of
Sure.
It was Sheik with Chair and whoever else.
The thing about it is, for me, I don't think it's that they're losing steam. It's normalizing the way that it's normal that this happens and a million games come out. For me, it's very much it's very similar to, if you recall, when we were working at IGN and we would review games that were downloadable, and you'd go, "It looks good for a downloadable game. I can't believe this downloadable game did." You know what I mean? Like, it was so crazy that it was downloadable. And now that's totally fucking done with. You know what I mean? Every game's downloadable. I remember the moment when it just switched, it seemed like, where it was like you were taking games that were downloadable and didn't have any kind of retail and putting them up in Game of the Year, Best Action Adventure, Same thing here, where, yeah, for a while there, it was like, man, there should be a best indie game category, and there is still a lot of Game of the Years, but does that even matter anymore when Her Story is up for best performance and this is breaking out and Rocket League should be in the conversation for Game of the Year? You know what I mean? Like, that's not how this works anymore.
I just think it's normal. I just think things are normalized. But I also think that the indie landscape's changed. I do think there's too many. I think that a lot of people have put too many games out. I think quality is starting to careen downward. Especially on Steam, you see that a lot with early access and all that stuff. A lot of that shit's garbage. I mean, Jim Sterling does a really great job of highlighting a lot of the crap on there. Stay away from some good stuff on there too.
Of course,
but
that's how it's going to be.
But we have to get quality control back in check. A race to the bottom is not going to be conducive to the indie environment. And they've already cannibalized themselves on iPhone, so we should make sure that, or on and Android too. So they should make sure that we don't let that happen to the traditional important space for gaming, which is PC and console, where vibrancy is important. And console manufacturers will have more control over that than PC. Of course, Steam will let you do whatever the fuck you want, I guess. But so I don't think things have changed. Have we come a long way since Castle Crashers and Shadow Complex and Flower and all the Flowers technically?
I know what you meant.
But yeah, we've come a long way since then in the fact that those games don't punch you in the face anymore,
right? Because
they're all over the fucking place.
I mean, it's just one of those things where I really feel that Aditya's point is lost in his own question, because he's like, barely one or two of these games created a buzz. Helldivers had a hell of a buzz. Transistor was fucking huge. And Rocket League, all anyone was talking about for the longest time.
Played Rocket League.
All anybody was talking about Rocket League. You know what
Rocket League, I think Rocket League will maybe sell more than Assassin's Creed. Not that it's a $15 game. It was also free for a lot of people.
Sure.
But the point is that Rocket League did like 8 or 9 million. That's not a fucking trivial amount of copies. Call of Duty, Battlefront's expected to do 14. So put that into context. You have any idea how much money they spent on that fucking game?
Right.
And the server costs and all that. Rocket League was a dollar for dollar, pound for pound. We have to have Jeremy on and talk business with him, because I'm sure he would. Pound for pound, that game probably made a gratuitous amount of money, considering how big Psyonix is.
Yeah, totally.
I can't imagine. Let's say they sold for $20 4 million copies of the game. That's $80 million.
Yeah.
Plus DLC and all that. It's like, I hope I talked to Jeremy and I'm like, man, congratulations. I hope you are fucking rich.
While we talk about this indie stuff, it's probably a good way to transition and make a Greg way to this week's forgotten PlayStation game. This one is different, Colin. We've talked about this before. Forgotten PlayStation game. Usually we jump back, calling all cars. We grab something from a ways back. What I want to talk about is Actual Sunlight, which is something I played this year and talked to you about recently on the Gamescast and all
On
these
PS
different
Vita.
things. I played on my PlayStation Vita, where there's other games that are very popular that involve foods of some kind. I didn't say anything. I'm not saying anything. Maybe you move a tortilla around. You got yeah.
You're getting real close now.
I know.
What kind of food do you make with the tortilla?
I'm afraid Mexican fare. Actual Sunlight is a game that flew under my radar. And I thought, I missed something happened and I wasn't paying attention. And then I've talked about it I put it in it's already in my, which will go, I'm doing a couple Game of the Year articles for sister publications. They're popping up all over these places. I went on a different podcast, Irrational Passions, was talking about my Game of the Year stuff there and honorable mentions, all this stuff has popped up there. And every time I talk about this game, nobody really knows what I'm talking. They know, maybe they've heard of it, they kind of hear it, blah, blah, blah. So I wanted to call it out. On my way to Chicago, getting ready to leave for Chicago for Thanksgiving, went through the Vita store, ran into Actual Sunlight and the little logo. And I was like, what is this? It had the Toronto Point thing there, whatever. One of them Canadian buildings up there or whatever. And looked into it and then looked at a few reviews, write-ups
Toronto
about
Point
it.
building.
You know what do you know what it's called? You know what I'm talking about there?
Yeah, I know exactly.
Okay. But
it looks kind of like the Sky Needle.
Exactly. And that's where I was going to jump to originally. But you don't know what it's called, right?
No.
Just making sure. I'm American. And so I jump into it, and it's a game all about being depressed. You play as a character named
So it's like
Evan.
my life.
No, that's because he's suicidal, and the whole point.
Okay, well,
the whole point, exactly, and that's the whole thing. Is for me, I feel like we've all, you and I for sure, have dealt with depression. You know what I mean? Where you're down and to do this, and you come out of it, and you're fine, and then when you find or hear or read or whatever, you find out about somebody who did kill themselves, and it's so hard to put yourself in those shoes of how bad it would get and what that would feel like and where you're going from. Actual Sunlight is all about that. You're in the shoes of a suicidal guy and you're playing it. You're moving him around and it's, you can look at it. I always do such a bad job of describing the gameplay, right? To me, it looks
like an SNES Japanese role playing game.
Exactly. And you're going around doing this and through his life and interacting with people and it's popping up as text logs that'll come up and you read through it and stuff. It's available on Steam. It's available on PlayStation Vita. And it's forgotten in the way that it just came and went and I didn't hear much about it. And that's weird that I'm this PlayStation Vita dude, evangelist, and I missed it. So it's enjoyable. It's short. It's enjoyable is a weird way to say it, I guess, because it's definitely
poignant,
poignant indeed, right? And it's an interesting way to put yourself in those shoes that I hope you aren't in. And if you are, know that it gets better and that we're here for you, and so are all your best friends at kindoffunny.com. But it was definitely an interesting ride. You know what I mean? Especially for starting it, and it's just it looks like this, and it's just not boring, but just plain text popping up. You know what I mean? And then I played it that entire play, and I was like, man, this was a fascinating ride, and so I recommend that as my forgotten PlayStation Game of the Week.
Very nice. I'll allow it.
Thank you, Colin. Next up, P.S. I love this best friend XOXO. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this one's simple. You head over to kindoffunny.com/forums. You go there, you click on P.S. I love this best friend XOXO, and you leave your PlayStation Network name along with a little write-up. Because then what we're going to do is read it here. Other best friends from the Kind of Funny community will message you support, or they will send you friend requests, and you can go play games or see each other or get into parties and do stuff. This one,
getting the parties on PlayStation 4 or getting the parties you're just going to go to a party together.
I think you can do both. You'd be surprised how often that happens. This one comes from the PSN name Mike Jr. 25. That's Mike, MIKE, JR25. Mike Jr. 25 says, "Hey, Colin and Greg, I love everything Kind of Funny. Recently, I decided to give up my Moriarty-style gaming life and get more into playing multiplayer games. The problem is all my friends either don't have a PlayStation." He put a period here instead of a comma. I was like, that was a weird thing that there's no either. The problem is
very abrupt.
The problem is all my friends either don't have a PlayStation, which is blasphemous in and of itself, or just not that into online gaming. Please send my name into the community so fellow best friends can connect with me. My PSN name is Mike Jr. 25. Thanks. And P.S. I'll always love you as long as you're kind of funny. We'll always be kind of funny. Colin?
Yes.
Rounding out our cornucopia here of back segments. PSN's worst name of the week. This one comes from the username on the boards, Crowned Clown. That's not the name we're talking about. The Crown Clown writes and it says, "Howdy, Colin and Greg.
Hello.
Thanks for the show and a great PSX
I'm
panel."
too lazy to just lean 2 inches forward.
Yeah, I've been there. "This has been my favorite podcast to listen to since you guys started this up. Congrats on the success, and may it keep coming your way."
Thank you.
"So I was playing some Destiny and messing around with Bungie's new Sparrow League Racing. These races can be frustrating at times with questionable physics and bumper car mechanics that are happening. However, I was having some fun killing time until a party. Probably going to a party with Mike Jr. 25.
Oh,
like I was
these
telling
guys
you.
are party animals.
I get into one race, and right off the bat, it is neck and neck between me and this one other player. It was then I took a closer look at his name, and we jostled for first. It was none other than Caustic Ejaculate. Caustic Ejaculate. I fell behind in the race and only caught up to him at the end, but all throughout the race, I see Caustic Ejaculate in the lead. Unfortunately, there was no come, pun intended, from behind victory, and I came, pun not intended, in third. Now, I don't know about you, but it sounds like this player should get this medical malady checked out. Maybe, for all we know, he has since been cured of this caustic bodily fluids and needs to change his name. Please, Shuhei, let us change our names. P.S. I love you in that platonic sort of way. What do you think of that one?
It's pretty good.
Yeah?
Not the best.
No.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Well, they're not, we can't.
Slash bad. I mean,
you can't top it every week.
No.
You know what I mean?
It's impossible.
You can't.
It's impossible.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been P.S. I Love You XOXO episode 14. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, this is kindafunny.com's PlayStation podcast. It's the #1 PlayStation podcast on the internet. It posts every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and podcast services around the world. So please be a bro or dudette. Subscribe to youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Nobody uses dudette enough.
For good reason. The word sucks.
Subscribe to youtube.com/kindafunnygames. If you're in the mood to give us a holiday gift, please head over to iTunes and rate us there, and pass us along to your friends. You know, it's one of those weird things where I'm sure you sit there and you're like, wow, Greg and Colin, they're popular. Kinda Funny's popular. There's no need for me to share this, retweet it, favorite it, put it on my Facebook. You'd be surprised. Every little bit helps. Thank you for all your support, of course, in 2016, which has been an amazing year. And remember, we're not going to miss any weeks. So you need to go to kindafunny.com/PSQ and post questions for the next 2 shows. One can be, the first question there can be all about the normal stuff. The next one need to be long, evergreen topics, we call them. That could, not be, hey, Greg, did you think it was weird that Shuhei invented a jetpack and flew to Mars yesterday? I would not know that it happened in time to comment about it in the older show. Colin.
Yes.
Did you know that each and every episode of P.S. I Love You XOXO ends in a song in a segment we call Singing to Shuhei? It's pretty simple, ladies and gentlemen. We want to play your music at the end of the show, either as the MP3 on the MP3 you're downloading from your podcast service, or on YouTube by you finishing the video and then clicking on the annotation to go to your channel and see stuff. You have to go to kindafunny.com/PSM, submit your link for the song, your link for the video. Maybe you get in. Everybody's happy. It's great. Last week, Colin, we played a young gentleman named Mega Ran. You remember Mega Ran?
I do, barely.
Friend of ours. It's been so long since he was in the spare bedroom to hang out with us.
I love Mega Ran.
He played a song. He went on a tour. He had a bunch of cool stuff. He was so impressed, Colin, with the reaction of you, the P.S. I Love You XOXO best friends, to his song, which was old, played out. He wanted to come here and debut a song.
Okay.
So we're about to play The Year in Gaming 2015 that Mega Ran wrote, performed. It's produced by K Murdoch. The only way you could possibly get this, I'm sorry. Mega Ran writes in and says, the only way to get a download of the song is to go to patreon.com/bits and rhymes, all spelled out. Thanks, bud. Let me know if you need anything else. Mega Ran, we love you so much. It's awesome. I don't know if we've ever debuted a real musician's song before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Mega Ran's the man.
Mega Ran is awesome. Yeah, so Mega
Ran's the man.
Mega Ran's the man.
I'm Jack Trent, and I love Mega Ran.
So on the MP3, we're about to play Year in Gaming 2015 by Mega Ran. Since it's a brand new song that's only available on his Patreon page, of course, patreon.com/bits and rhymes. The video I'll link to off to is just Mega Ran and K Murdoch doing a live from Shadowgate. Cool. That's different. Cool stuff, though. Thank you, Mega Ran. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Until next time, here's Year in Gaming from Mega Ran. Roll with the homies.
That's
okay.
fine.
Tell them all to keep their shitty fucking talk down out there. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, my son of a bitch.
Oh, my son of a bitch.
Unless it's a Game Awards trophy, then it's okay.
All right.
Or a 15-inch walk.
All right.